You see what I'm saying? When you accept 100%, even hypothetically, I don't mean on faith, I mean, you cannot, you have not read anything or seen anything with which you feel that you can legitimately disagree, okay?
Yeah, yeah, yes, yes.
So if you have nothing, if there's nothing about Prabhupada with which you can disagree, then how, by what measure is that not initiation?
Ah, Jai. That's a wonderful point.
Yeah, ultimately people take initiation filled with doubt, and they're hoping that after initiation, their doubt will be dispelled, but even more so, they're hoping that they will become delivered from repeated birth and death at the end of this lifetime, modeled after the Christian model, the
Mm-hmm.
Catholic model.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But if we take away, as we have begun to do, take away that model, and we're depending on actual realization or actual kinetic or direct acceptance. And that is what Prabhupada was saying in the Falgun Krishna Panchami, is it not?
Yes, indeed. Direct.
Yeah, he says, he was asking his, you've come here with fruits and flowers, but where is your actual acceptance of the direction of the spiritual master?
Right.
I mean, you can, because what they were doing was creating a ritual, and Srila Prabhupada was basically busting them on that one.
Yeah, yeah.
To use the vernacular, he busted them. You're going to have, each part of the Falgun Krishna Panchami was really based upon Prabhupada practically forcing his godbrothers, or at least saying that he was forcing his godbrothers to choose.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Choose.
Andrew Ananda Prabhu is coming on now.
Oh, great.
So let him come in then.
The other factor that we need to deal with, let's see, there's another element that I had thought of. Yeah, yes, realization. Do we believe in that super soul actually exists, or is it just a theory? Does it make sense?
Does super soul actually exist, or is that just theory to us?
Well, or theory in general. I mean, like the Big Bang theory for the creation of the universe, Is there anything in our consciousness that is willing to accept that Paramatma exists? Or do I exist thinking about Paramatma as though Paramatma were a theory?
Oh,
you see?
I guess they come.
How do we get past the theoretical stage of Paramatma to understand that he is not only real, but he is significantly more real than we are.
Try.
And at the same time, he is all pervasive. You see, we are conditioned souls. We can be conditioned souls. We can understand that we're conditioned souls and wish to become Kanistha Adhikaris. And we immediately pounce on the idea of, oh, if I get initiated, that will speed the process, won't it? I will get the result. I will die and go back to Godhead like a Christian going to heaven. Now, my big question is, first of all, let's get down to basics. We're not live yet, are we? Or are we?
Live.
Are we live?
We're live.
Yes? We're live. Oh, good. So getting down to basics, we have to accept, we have to understand, or we have to come to a factual conclusion. And if a person comes to the factual conclusion is, I have no idea if Paramatma exists or not, that is the beginning of a primary excellent conversation. In other words, coming to the conclusion that Paramatma actually exists, or thinking that Paramatma is a Vedic idea, a Hindu idea, something Prabhupada said idea, but not necessarily something that I myself truly understand or accept as big or bigger a reality, as bigger a reality than my sense of being that I am my body. For a conditioned soul, if someone embodied to believe that their body is not very surprising. I mean, why would you have a body if you were not trying to believe that you were the body?
Right.
Right?
Right.
I mean, what's the point of believing that you're the body? What's the point of being in a body and assuming that you're not the body? It goes against nature, right?
Right. Right.
Of course I'm the body. Why else was I born into a body? Why else did I grow up in the body? Why was I taught the rights and wrongs and the ABCs and mathematics and everything if I'm not my body? Why am I being taught all this stuff? And why do I live like this? And now I have children. Why do I teach my children stuff if we're not our bodies? You know, it's a big.
Right.
But once you have the inkling, as Prabhupada puts up so many times in the Falgun Krishna Panchami, and when he says about his spiritual master, you gave direction. That's a loaded statement. Gave direction. You know what I mean?
Right.
So what is the direction? At the time we were discussing it, I said vertical, Bhakti Lata Beach. The direction is upward, not horizontal, like where's the post office, where's the train station. We're not trying to figure out flat things. We're trying to figure out from here to Krishna's lotus feet type things. So if we conclude that I am not my body, and then I conclude that Paramatma does indeed exist in reality, not just in theory, then I am in a position where I can either accept or reject Paramatma. That's where we are right now. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Either we're accepting or rejecting that Paramatma's existence. I mean, if you stop to think of it, you could say, if I believe that Paramatma exists, then why aren't I conscious of Paramatma existing? Right?
Right. Right.
If he exists, I know that I exist. I can look in the mirror and see my hands, my legs, my face, meaning my body. I can see that my body exists, but how can I tell the Paramatma exists?
Yeah.
Well, we discussed it in depth, obliquely, not straightforwardly, by saying any impulse you have that you want to do, good, bad, or, if it's karma, vikarma, or akarma, whatever your desire is in relationship to Paramatma, he will grant it if it is within your karmic range to accept it. Karmic range means of your body.
Yeah. That's what I just experienced today. I was looking to buy some chips. I'm like, I'm not going to buy any nonsense chips. If I see some organic chips with like 2 or 3 ingredients, then I'll buy it. Then I went looking. I didn't find any. So I didn't. At the last moment, I found it.
Really?
I'm like, okay, yeah, this is the one.
That's good. But you're saying that you found it.
But Krishna,
Did,
Krishna,
did you find it? Did you actually find it?
I did not find it, but at the last moment, it was right at the corner. So I
Yeah,
found.
but what was the process of finding it?
I went across all the aisles looking for it. I saw a whole bunch of nonsense stuff that in the chips. It was all, this one was organic and it had 4 ingredients.
What was the vehicle, the means of finding it?
Oh, I had no means. I was just walking around. That's it.
That's what you think.
Yeah, that's what I think. Krishna
But
guided me to that
actually,
place.
you were trying to operate separately from Paramatma by wandering around looking.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
And in the end, you gave up. Then Paramatma showed you where they were.
yeah. That's what
That's
I was like.
fact.
I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it, but I wasn't find anything.
Yeah, because your mind said, I want to find it. Your will, your eager taste buds wanted to find it.
Yeah.
So you tried to act as though you could find it, but you couldn't find it.
I gave up.
Now,
I'm not buying it.
Now,
I'm not gonna
at the
buy
very
anything.
end,
Yeah.
hadn't you basically given up?
Yeah, I'd given up. I'm not gonna buy anything because all these things we don't eat all these things. So
Yeah.
so
But in the end, it appeared before you.
exactly. Yeah, I was like right at the corner.
That is the symptom of Paramatma.
Okay.
When things appear before you and you're in your neutral mood, things appear before you, there's no other source by which they could appear before you except Paramatma.
Yeah.
Remember, our ability to see, think, feel, all of our feelings, all of our expressions of our body are all under the control, are all being impacted, I should say, interrelated with Paramatma. That's loud.
Huh?
That chewing is very loud.
Oh, it's very loud. I'm far away from the phone.
Well, it's loud on my end of the deal. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Like that.
Mike,
Super.
Mike is near you.
Is
Okay.
it something that needs to go on right now? I mean, you actually have to eat something right now?
I'm done
You're
now.
muted.
The whole bag is finished. Now the
Oh,
whole bag
okay.
is finished.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. But now maybe we are able to see how everything we want is being supplied by Paramatma.
Yeah.
Not just, oh, I want something big, or I want to get married to that nice girl, or anything like that. Crunch. I like that, but the general feeling directing you, for whatever reason, is there's no one enabling us except Paramatma. Does that make sense?
Yes.
We think we are doing things. That's why we're in the material body.
Mm.
It is, if I may say so, complete Maya.
Yeah.
If I think I'm doing anything, it's complete Maya. If I'm the doer of anything, it's Maya. Why? Because it's not true. It's asat.
Mm.
I am not the doer of anything. It says that in the Bhagavad Gita.
Yes.
We're not the doer. So if we take that seriously and look at it carefully, then we need to put ourselves into a position where we're not faking our relationship with our actual source of knowledge and ability. We all are faking it. Anything that we do, and I think I am doing that, is faked. When anything I do, I just do it without planning, without thinking, without trying to be the doer. Anything that I do without being the doer, get that? It's getting tighter, isn't it? Anything I
Right.
do without being the doer is done by Paramatma.
Mm.
And we can direct ourselves. Why do I mention this? Because I think that our group needs to make a conscious vow and commitment not to always speak only what Paramatma wants, because that's unrealistic, but to endeavor to make that our goal. The goal of the league should be to not think, feel, and will.
Mm.
Thinking is Maya, feeling is Maya, and willing is Maya. Why? Right? Do you get that? Thinking is Maya because we're trying to utilize Paramatma. It's like having a computer, coming up with the answers on the computer, turning to the class, and pretending that you just realized it yourself, whereas you're
Right.
just taking it off the computer.
Right.
So if I'm thinking, I am thinking, how can I pretend that this idea is mine and did not come from a higher source?
Mm, mm, mm.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
tough because it gets very personal in our very hearts. But how can we go forward unless we do it?
Right.
See, I'd like to see the league for 10,000 years of Kali, 10,000 years of 10,000 years, for the league for the next 10,000 years. I would like to see that league consciously committed to giving up the false ego in thinking, feeling, willing, and conversation. Everything must come from Paramatma.
Right.
And that's really the active principle of Nistagosti as well. And we say this is a Nistagosti. Of course, in a regular temple Nistagosti with neophytes there, they're all going to be speaking from the material platform because they're neophytes. They are at best Kanista Adhikaris in that group. Actually, they are Kanista Adhikaris, just a question of which level.
Right.
So all the Kanista Adhikaris will rack their brains and wring their hands and put their grip their chins and try to go like that and trying to figure things out. And that's good. You know why it's good?
Because they're thinking.
No, because it is the ghost, they will figure it out.
Mm.
But what do
Right.
they figure it? How do they figure it out? By listening to Krishna, who's also in that meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And who is Krishna in that meeting? We can understand that Krishna in the meeting is Paramatma,
Right.
guiding us from within.
Devotee.
You like that idea?
Indeed. Right. I think
But
every.
is there anybody in our group that says, no, I don't want to do that? Or is there anybody in this group that says, no, I don't believe that Paramatma exists? I think Paramatma is a very nice Hindu theory or Shastric theory. But do I believe? Do I realize? Do I act? We don't realize that we can't act without Paramatma. We would be catatonic without Paramatma.
Catatonic means what?
Oh, like in a coma, comatose.
Acha, acha.
Catatonic is a person who can't express, cannot move, cannot do anything, just sits there,
Acha, acha.
conscious or semi-conscious or not conscious.
So bringing that point back to the initiations part, if we accept Prabhupada as our only sole source for spiritual wisdom and spiritual guidance, initiation becomes the sacrifice or the ritual becomes secondary or
Yeah, redundant,
redundant. Yeah.
extra. Basically, the initiation ceremony is for those who cannot surrender to Krishna.
Ah.
You think that by taking initiation is the very act of surrendering to Krishna.
Right.
And it's true, it is for a person who is not surrendered to Krishna.
Right.
But will take the initiation perfect your surrender to Krishna, or is
No.
it just a step along the path?
Step along the path.
Yeah, because surrendering to Krishna comes, oh, actually, say surrendering to Prabhupada occurs when you find there is nothing that Prabhupada has ever said, done, or felt, or expressed with which I don't agree. Does that make sense? Manu, do you like that idea?
Yeah.
Is there anything about Prabhupada that you don't agree? Manu?
I saying the instruction or the
Huh?
philosophy.
Anything. He's saying.
Is there anything coming from Prabhupada with which you do not agree? Or do you agree 100% with Prabhupada?
100% agree. I may not be following
sorry?
everything what Prabhupada is saying, but I mean,
Saying, feeling, doing, willing, whatever, everything about Prabhupada. Do you find anything with which you can disagree?
no.
Ah. And is that a deep feeling or just the right answer?
That's a real question.
What would
That's
you
a
say,
real
Van? Or is it partial? I mean, you know it's the right answer, but is it real? Is it?
coming
Do you
from
doubt anything that do you doubt anything that Prabhupada said by any means? Do you think?
I don't doubt it.
You don't what?
I
He
don't
doesn't doubt it. He doesn't doubt
What?
it.
Doesn't doubt what?
What Prabhupada
Anything
said.
Prabhupada says. Anything Prabhupada says, he doesn't
Okay.
doubt it.
As that feeling matures within you, that is the only initiation that exists.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
If you understand and accept Prabhupada, even if you say, I can't even follow the four regulative principles, I can't give up drinking alcohol, I can't give up this, that, and the other thing.
Hmm.
Okay, but do you doubt Prabhupada? Hell no! I accept Prabhupada.
Hmm.
I just can't follow the Kanistadikari rules. But I accept Prabhupada. He's 100% right. I just wish I could. But maybe someday I will. But right now, I accept him as 100% true. And I don't have any other teacher or teaching around me that I am even slightly interested in.
Right.
Buddhism or Christianity or Judaism or Islam or Jainism. I don't accept any of that. I accept Prabhupada, but unfortunately, I can't even follow any of the regulative principles.
Right.
That is the path to initiation. And when he can accept, and when his belief in Prabhupada and recognition of who Prabhupada actually is reaches a certain stage of development within his consciousness, then he won't want to break any of the principles because he said, do you want some meat? No. Do you want to add intoxication? Are you kidding? Do you want to illicit sex? Do you want, it makes me spit. And do you want have any, do you want to play any frivolous sports or gamble? No way. What a waste of money. What a waste of time.
Right.
So when he gets to that point, then he's one of us.
Right.
He's able to sustain himself. But the process of sustaining is not just finding people that you like and you agree with their lifestyle. Oh, I like the devotees. I like the way they live. I'd like to live with them and like them.
Right. Right.
Pointless. Live with them or without them, live with your family or live with somebody else. It doesn't matter. What matters is your relationship to understanding your acceptance or not acceptance of Srila Prabhupada. Insofar as you accept Srila Prabhupada, you will reach perfection. And even to the degree you do not accept Srila Prabhupada, well, you have to then keep thinking, feeling, and willing in relationship to Prabhupada and determine, is he for real or is he fake?
Right, right.
Is he genuine or is he a criminal or crook or a con man? Figure out, take all the things and don't be afraid to challenge Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah. Good luck challenging him.
Well, do you know who did?
Who did?
In 1969?
Kirtananda?
No. Tamal Krishna.
Oh, Tamal Krishna challenged Srila Prabhupada?
Yeah, he told me about it after
What?
it happened. He was with Prabhupada privately, and he began to practically attack Prabhupada verbally, trying to find some flaw in Prabhupada.
Wow.
This is what I'm talking about. Of course, doing what Tamal did is a little bit extra, but this is the basic idea: is you challenge Prabhupada and look for flaws.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to become a pure devotee like Prabhupada, if you don't challenge him and look for flaws, then you won't find out that he has no flaws. You'll just blindly accept, just the way people blindly accept the Kanista initiators as gurus. Why do they accept? Because they don't dare challenge.
Mm-hmm.
They have no basis to challenge. There's no teaching by which they will challenge. So, you want to hear what Tamal Krishna said and did?
Sure. I never heard this pastime before. Incident.
I'm the only person that probably ever heard it because I heard it directly from Tamal, and I doubt that he had any motive to say it to anybody else but me.
Acha, what was the incident? Go ahead.
He came to me and said, his face was pale. He said, I just left the meeting with Srila Prabhupada. I said, why do you look so disturbed? Well, I sat there and I aggressively challenged him on every single point. And Prabhupada responded on every single point. And I challenged some more and some more and some more, as though we were in a debate trying to defeat the other party, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he kept on doing that and doing that. Finally, when Prabhupada answered everything impeccably, he looked at Srila Prabhupada and it hit him like a piano falling out of a 12-story window in New York City and landing on his head.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes they lower pianos down with ropes, and sometimes the rope breaks. And so he was staring at Prabhupada as though he'd been hit over the head with a club. And he said to Srila Prabhupada, I think I've committed the greatest offenses the way I've been speaking to you. I apologize. Am I completely ruined or doomed for having done so? And what do you want Prabhupada said? I'm trying to remember as close to verbatim as I can. What Prabhupada said?
It's your duty? No?
No. He said, how else would you know?
Yeah. How else would you know?
Find out? In other words, he knew that Tamal's motive was crude, ugly, and
nasty.
Not at all like a disciple.
Right.
Just accepting, I accept, I don't give a flying you know what it is, but I accept it. Not that a disciple has to accept like that. But he challenged. And he said to Prabhupada, have I committed the mad elephant offense?
Mm-hmm.
And so Prabhupada said, no. How else could you know or find out?
Jai. Wow, Prabhupada was very merciful to him.
Well, that was merciful because Prabhupada could have said, you're a great offender, get out of my association and never show up in a temple again.
Right.
Which would have saved his life. Because I don't think there's anybody else that would have poisoned Prabhupada. You know, led to poisoning. I think a bunch of people. they all got convinced that they had to do that to save the movement, save Prabhupada's movement and his books from being discredited if it turned out he was indeed senile. And there he is sitting on a big piazza in front of 5,000 people, drooling or something like that. They thought that would not be good for the movement.
So,
Of course, how they could come to that conclusion is astonishing, but it just shows that, remember, we're talking about the devotional creeper grows and other creepers grow, and it said
yes,
they were supposed to be torn out. Where did that, was that stated?
Bhanu Prabhu said in the Chaitanya Chaitamrita, he looked it up.
Yes. And so, the Bhanu's still there?
Yes, Bhanu's still there.
He stepped away.
Yeah,
Hare
he's,
Krishna.
Bhanu's not there. All I can, somehow or other, Bhanu looks like Krishna now. Oh.
he's back.
Bhanu, I thought you turned into Krishna. Beautiful picture of Krishna. So anyhow, so where were we?
Tamal challenged Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah, challenge Srila Prabhupada. Well, Tamal actually wanted to see if there was any flaw in Srila Prabhupada.
Yes, yes.
And Prabhupada very calmly answered him in every point. But remember, he challenges with a challenge like, wow, like that. And Prabhupada answers to the core of that challenge, not to the tone of it, not to the anger of it or the frustration of it or the ignorance of it. He doesn't address anything except the core question, core issue.
Uh-huh.
Why? Because he doesn't need to get into a material, horizontal, Aniyaphilasabij, Kinestadikari argument with anybody. If you go to a Kinestadikari and start challenging him like that, he'll angrily challenge you right back again, and God only knows you might end up in a fist fight.
With your guru, with the initiator guru.
He probably cleared the.
But the ISKCON devotees, the ISKCON system, GVC, so-called GVC, doesn't allow anyone to challenge the guru, their initiator, at all. They're supposed to have blind faith. Pretty much like the faith in the priesthood of the Catholic Church.
Right.
You have to have faith in them because they're representing Jesus or God, representing the cardinals, and the cardinals are representing the Pope. In fact, they even elect the Pope.
Right.
So they're just like GBC. They elect the gurus.
They don't even give time to interact with the gurus. Prabhupada interacted much more with the disciples than.
I'm sorry? I didn't understand. Can you explain?
Bhanu Prabhu saying is the initiator gurus in ISKCON, they don't give much time for the disciples to question and interact with their initiator gurus. Srila Prabhupada gave much more time for their disciples to interact with him, even though he was running an international movement and printing books, writing books.
ISKCON gurus, you meant good initiators, right?
Yes, initiator gurus, yes. Yeah.
When you say guru, it immediately gives them a legitimacy that they don't have.
Initiators. Yeah. The GBC initiators. They're actually disciples of the GBC instead of the disciples of the initiator guru. Yeah, exactly. The initiators are the disciples of the GBC, actually.
Essentially, because without the GBC, they are powerless.
Right. Yes.
They cannot be appointed to be guru, and they cannot be taken. But they can be taken out as guru if they displease the GBC.
Right. So, what kind of guru, so-called initiator, are they? They're the disciples, actually.
The same thing happens with the Pope.
Right.
Pope Benedict retired, and then the present Pope, Papa Francisco, Pope Francis took over after Benedict. Why? Because Benedict was beginning to lose it. And at the same time, it became clear that he was an enthusiastic member of the Hitler Youth in Nazi Germany.
Acha.
Yeah, and the argument was, well, you know, any bright, decent boy became like a Boy Scout. You know, he became Hitler Youth was like the Boy Scouts, and you learn how to be a Boy Scout by joining the Boy Scouts. So Hitler Youth was like that, but I have a feeling that they had found out things that took it beyond his just joining because it was there, sort of, or because he had to, as it were. They must have found something heavy on him as a Boy Scout in the Hitler Youth, in which case they moved him out of the way. They said he was losing his cognitive skills.
Acha. Wow. Bhanu
But
Prabhu,
that
any
may
questions?
not be true.
Bhanu Prabhu, any questions? You've been listening. You usually ask this very
No
important subject matter. You can share your questions or you can make comments also, just like you did.
Well, the thing,
Sure.
the point really is, and I think that may be something to write out on paper. Do you accept, to what degree do you accept Prabhupada as
Perfect.
the Acharya? How much to accept that? Is there any part of Prabhupada, you see, they say, how much do you accept? Oh, I accept, you know. But what did you say? Is there any aspect of Prabhupada that you do not agree with or
Well,
do not accept?
yeah, you know, this lady gave me a donation for like $1,000 something, and
Yeah.
she had a set of Bhagavatams, the the ones Veda Guya prints. So
Yeah, okay.
she complained to me that I like Srila Prabhupada's writings, but he's very harsh on women. You know.
So that's
was like-
an area where she disagrees.
Yeah, so I tried to have a conversation with her and try to explain that the bodies are totally different, totally different, men and women. So, and then she accepted it, and she was like, I need a guru. I'm like, you already have a guru. This Bhagavatam, you have it here. He's your spiritual master. Prabhupada's books are
Yeah.
there.
Normal call
Yeah.
disturbance.
But you could ask her like this: Is there any part of
normal call
Prabhupada? Is there any part of Prabhupada that you do not agree with, that you do not accept, that you
Yeah.
do not think is correct or perfect? Is there any part of Prabhupada that you would not trust with your very self as the self that is part and parcel to Krishna, not the self that is walking around eating, meeting, mating, sleeping, and defending?
Yeah.
Right?
So
So we have to, this is the direction I would like to see us go if we can, and that is try to base our group and the group that's listening in, hopefully right now, and any other group, we want to ask them, all right, you're a devotee of Krishna, do you accept Prabhupada? And is there any part of Prabhupada, never mind your initiator, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the founder Acharya who wrote all the books. Is there any part of the books that you don't agree with? Is there any part of Prabhupada that you don't agree with? Is there anything where you think, well, I'm not sure. You know, I'm beginning to think that Prabhupada is perfect, but I'm not absolutely sure on the topic. And I have to do some more soul searching and research and whatnot before I can accept him or not accept him. You see, that's the process, the real process. Any other process is just, what do I need to do to be accepted by this group of people? Oh, you need to take initiation from a Kanista initiator. Oh, yeah, okay. I don't really want to, but I guess I will because I like the people. I want to hang out with you guys as an equal, not as a guest.
Yeah, one ISKCON guy told me, "Hey, Ronald, you've been hanging with us. Now you need to accept one of the gurus and surrender to him." I'm like, what? What are you telling me?
Okay, you know what you could say? Actually, you called me Ronald. That's not my name. Well, what is your name? Ramachandra. How did you get a name Ramachandra? From Krishna.
Yeah, he'll be blown away. He'll be like, what? Yeah.
Because of my
Right.
meditation on Prabhupada, Krishna sent me the name Ramachandra.
Right.
And now I am Ramachandra Das.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Perfect sense to me, but probably not to everyone. And nor do I care.
Well, none of us are perfect. And each one of us has a relationship. But what I'm looking at is the abstract, the ideal sense. I may or may not be able to surrender to Krishna. I may or may not be able to surrender to Prabhupada.
Yeah.
But
Right.
do I consider Krishna worthy of my surrender? And do I consider Prabhupada to be worthy of my surrender and the sole means of attaining Krishna consciousness?
Right. Very powerful.
Well, it's simple. So we're talking about that, then we're talking about the question, does Paramatma exist? Why don't we throw that out and talk about it? Why don't you guys talk without me? Why don't you talk about it right now? There's 4 of us all together on this.
Yeah.
What happened
I mean,
to Chidananda?
I have no idea what's going on with him.
And what
Everyone gets.
happened?
Huh?
And what
Well,
happened to our
Mahaprabhu Das? Which one?
Vashi.
yeah, he's not on right yet. And what
It's
about,
good.
did you
It's good
invite
they're
him?
not on. I said the message went out to everyone. These people who don't attend, if they don't attend, we can ask more questions to you. So
Well, that's okay. But I want everyone to be contemplating this, and that's what
yeah.
probably should get written out. So, okay. So, why don't the 3 of you discuss amongst yourselves without me at this point? I'll be silent at this point. And why don't you talk to each other and ask each other and figure out, do you actually believe that Paramatma exists? Or have you simply heard that Paramatma exists?
Very good. Personally,
Feeling-
go ahead, Bhanupuram. Go. Bhanu.
Vapu is
No,
not
don't talk to me, talk to everybody but me.
I mean, even if you hear that Paramatma exists, that is what we hear is more important than what you see it.
No.
Your eyes.
Talk
No.
to each
What you
other.
hear-
I'm
No,
not
I
trying
don't
to
agree
watch.
with that.
What you hear
I
through
don't agree.
scriptures.
It's one thing.
Say if you're going to USA, you first
Ah.
you hear about USA, you come to know about the place, how it is, that this, and this,
Right.
and eventually
Right.
you'll go there.
No, but
Yes.
someone who has went there and seen it, he can directly tell you. So that is
Yeah.
a higher realization. You read it, that's all right. But someone who has realized it and seen it working, that means he has a higher realization.
So the
Okay,
Guru is telling us from Bhagavad
Okay.
Gita.
Yes, Narayan Prabhu.
Then let me interject and ask a question. Does Paramatma exist?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, it does.
Are you sure?
I'm sure,
What makes you so sure?
because I've had some realizations regarding in that field where situations were totally opposite, and everything turned out all right, and I had no clue of what I was doing.
Like finding the right chips. Now, Bhaktananda Prabhu, do you feel
None.
that Paramatma does or does not exist? Where did Bhaktananda go?
Yes,
Bhaktananda, do you believe or do
my
not believe
research.
that? Do you believe that Paramatma exists or doesn't exist?
Oh, I don't know about believing, but my experience is that yes, I have experienced Paramatma, directly. My reception is kind of cutting out in and out. The weather's real bad down here. Power's terrible. So
Texas.
I can't really. Yeah, it's
Are
freezing
you
down here,
okay?
and
Are you all right?
I'm all right, but like the power has been cutting in and out for the past 3 days. It's like
Oh,
super
really?
cold. So, yeah,
Are
and
you?
now,
You're in Texas, right?
yeah,
Yes, yes, he's in
They're
Texas.
having amazing snowstorms there, right? With the rolling blackouts,
yep,
Wow.
yeah,
and it
it's
goes
pretty.
further north, so it's really hard to explain. It's not very typical for Texas, is it?
Not at all. We're not. Texas is not at all prepared for something like this. It's just,
Wow.
you know, we don't
I,
have we don't have the power. Now all of a sudden we don't have the water either. I think water mains have been busting, and they're
wow.
just the water so
Because
low.
they've frozen solid.
Some not just like all over the city, but like at my house, yes, there were pipes frozen in the attic, and one of them burst a little bit, and my dad had to
Wow.
just
Well,
shut it all
a
off.
a
And
pipe bursting a little bit when the water's frozen is one thing. When it warms up, it won't be frozen anymore. It'll be pouring all over the place.
yeah, yeah, it was the ceiling was leaking, and then I was like, eh. I told my dad, and he immediately got up and went and investigated, turned the water off, and he fixed. I guess
Yeah.
he did
The
it,
secret
patch it up.
with freezing pipes is to turn the water off before the water freezes and just turn it all off. Then the pipes don't get, when the ice swells, when it freezes, it bursts the pipe.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I just kind of like I think I went to sleep and I woke up and the pipes were frozen. I didn't realize that they hadn't like done the preparation to
Yeah,
try
so
and
if they're
avoid that.
bursting,
But
then it's to too late to stop them from bursting. You have to
Wow.
replace all the pipes.
Wow. Wow. It's a big job.
it's just I think there's like one spot where it burst and that was it. But anyhow, we
Well,
don't
the
have running
secret thing
water,
is,
so
did,
it's
are
like
you running water through the pipes?
we don't
So you
have
either have
running
to keep the
water.
water running
It's
so that it doesn't get
frozen.
a chance to freeze, or you got to drain the pipes so that they have nothing, there's no water in them to freeze.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's
I
just
guess if I had known, I would have made sure that the water, like I didn't know that the water that they weren't running they hadn't done all the preparation. I wasn't aware of what was going on at the
hmm.
And
well,
anecdotally, when I was in, I think, 1970, in the winter in Boston, starting moving to one of the big printing machine, one of the bookbinding machine, gigantic bookbinding machine from Boston to New York to Brooklyn. Uh, I, I was taking a shower. It was freezing cold. There was no hot water at all. And I had to take a shower. To give you an idea of how cold it was, the inside of the shower was crusted with ice, like a badly maintained freezer in a refrigerator, just rolls
Wow.
of ice all around it. I stood in there and I took this is remarkable because I have a very low tolerance for cold water. But anyhow, I came out and there was a curtain there between the bathroom and the civil room, not very pucka. And I heard Satsarupa sitting there saying, he was in charge. He was saying, you know, if any problem is there, please feel free to come to me and I will try to help. And they all sat forward eagerly, like you couldn't believe. And then they said, but of course, I might probably won't be able to help you at all. So they all sagged down again in the temple room, wrapped up in blankets. But why was the temple that cold? It was a fairly large building. It was a funeral parlor, in fact, so it had a lot of spaces for dead bodies. And why was it cold? Because Satsarup ran out of money for heating fuel for the furnace, fuel oil to run the furnace to make the water hot. So he just turned off the heat. Then the winter struck and all the pipes burst. It's because so many pipes burst, they were not able to, well, it was still winter, but they couldn't turn the furnace on even if they wanted to, because if they did, then there'd be water shooting everywhere out of the broken pipes. Pipes.
Wow. That's
So
true.
that's Satsarup for you. And then he becomes a guru. He said, heaven help me, I don't want any advice from a guy that doesn't know how to protect yourself from bursting pipes when you turn the heat off.
Isn't he like one?
That doesn't come up to what a guru is supposed to know. So he doesn't know that, then he couldn't possibly know anything higher than that.
He ain't no guru. No.
Yeah.
I've seen him.
So,
I've seen videos of YouTube where he's confronted, like I forget, I don't know who it is confronting him, but he's like yelling and like saying like, you poison. Prabhupada said kill something about
Guru,
that.
Guru. Yeah. Kill Guru,
Well,
become Guru.
he said that I forget. I think that's what he said, but it was something, one of those quotes that about poisoning the guru. But he said, "Am I crazy? You know, is Prabhupada crazy? Say Prabhupada's crazy for saying, you know, like all this." But anyhow, he was just like his devotees were like disciples trying to blow. Well,
So I like to say
oh,
an example. So like it's, when you're trying to say something, even though we are not able to say it exactly to the point, but then the other person or whom we are saying, he catches it, he understands it. That's how Paramatma sometimes
right,
happens.
right.
He gets
you
the
see,
point.
right now, we're trying to use our brains to figure things out, which is not the same as surrendering to Paramatma. If you try to use your brain to figure things out, that's you trying to get information from Paramatma and giving him zero credit.
We are
Zero.
trying to shut out the brain, but we couldn't speak anything on it.
No, then Paramatma will speak. You shut up your brain.
So it's very important to try to understand Paramatma. So I ask people, is there anyone here that truly believes that Paramatma exists?
Of course.
Not of course. It's rare.
Yeah, it's rare. You're right. It's very rare. It's rare. And
if you say of course, you're presupposing that people know things and understand things and realize things that they don't.
Ramachandra Prabhu give the reasoning also after saying of course.
Okay, my contention is that practically very few devotees who are still initiated, even Prabhupada disciples, very few realize that Paramatma is not just an occasional player in their lives, but a constant player in their lives. Just like Prabhupada described birds, so the grains, they're pecking away and they're chirping. He said they're having a chit chat over lunch. And he said that is not the case. People say they're having chit chat over lunch. Prabhupada, that's not the case. He said, what have they have nothing to say to each other. And considering when he explained what they were doing, asking, where, of Paramatma. And Paramatma was saying, there. Each bite of grain is individually directed by Lord Paramatma. Can you imagine? For each and every grain that each and every bird eats.
We haven't come to that point of realization that everything is being done by Paramatma through us. Everything is being...
Well, not done by Paramatma, but advised.
Yeah.
In other words, everything is based on question and answers. We ask, he answers. But we ask in such a way that when he answers, we try to claim the answer as our own thinking. We do not give credit to the fact that I didn't know, and then I acted on that, and then suddenly I knew. That's Paramatma's involvement.
I was thinking some of the answers I know, and some answers it comes out of the way, and those answers are given by Paramatma. I was thinking
What is
on
that?
Point.
Can you explain Ramachandra Prabhu?
Bhanu Prabhu is saying that. Bhanu Prabhu, can you say it again? Some. Go ahead.
I was of the view that I know some answers, and
Bhanu
some of
knows
the
some
answers. Some of the answers I don't know, and they come out of the way. Those answers, only those answers are coming from Paramatma. I was of the view of like that.
Okay. Bhanu Prabhu is saying that some answers Bhanu Prabhu knows, but some answers he does not know. But when those answers come through, that is Paramatma.
Sometimes.
Well,
the main thing about Paramatma is that, as the Bhagavad Gita says, not even a blade of grass can move.
Right.
So the blade of grass, the Paramatma is directing the trees, the jivas in the trees.
Right.
We are thinking Paramatma is in sophisticated conversations with genius level human beings, but he's also in relationship to plants, bugs, germs, anything that is a jiva and has a body. Paramatma is busy guiding them towards their desired objectives. So if we realize that when I'm hungry, or I imagine I'm hungry because it's my body that's hungry and I don't have to tolerate the idea that I am my body, I can say the body requires some fuel, just like the stove. You have to put wood in it to make it, wood stove or heating stove or fireplace. You put the log inside because otherwise the fire will go out. So that's what eating for the material body is, just putting a log into the fire. Otherwise it will go out. If you don't put the log into the fire goes out. If you don't put food into the body of the human being, then the human being will go out, starve to death.
Right.
So this is getting down to nitty gritty. As what I recommend doing is after tonight, tomorrow, before our meeting, Zoom meeting, that you start moving and trying to see in every ordinary facet of your life that you're doing, how much am I doing and how much am I responding to inquiry? Like the bird is saying, where, and Parvati says, there. So if I'm going where, looking for toothpaste in the drugstore.
I was looking for chips. Where? Paramatma saying, there. Remember?
Yeah. Yes. And Only when you gave up did Paramatma let you find what you were looking for.
Yeah,
He,
I
now,
gave up.
now we can raise this question. When you're looking for something and you can't find it, does or does not Paramatma know where it is?
He knows exactly where it is, but when you give up and when you don't search for it, that's when
many
you
times.
find it.
Or if you surrender,
Yeah, so many times
instead of
where I'm thinking like where did I leave this? Like I'm like so stressed, like looking where, and then I'm like, you know what? I prayed. I
Forget
said,
about it.
Krishna, please, if you could please me. And then after a few minutes, it appears. I'm like, oh, he knew
or
all
does
along, but it's my
but
false
can
ego
you
trying
understand that is
like
Paramatma involved with your walking down the sidewalk?
somewhat. Yeah, I would say so because
Well, let me
otherwise,
ask you perhaps an obvious question. Would you be able to walk down the sidewalk if Paramatma were not directing you?
No way.
No, I didn't ask you. I'm asking Bhaktananda.
I I would say like well,
Independently, we have no
super soul
existence.
has to be there.
Wait, let's stick
It
with
has to
Bhaktananda.
be there, right? Right, exactly.
What?
So Paramatma has to be there for us to exist, but also we can be directed by our own false ego, just
Can
going
we?
around and
How can we be
flicking
directed
off.
by our false ego?
And when we're not surrendered,
Well, that's
I would
what we
say.
think right now. But isn't it possible that what we think is following our false ego is simply Krishna empowering us to do something stupid because that's what we want to do? Is there any move you can make or any thought that you can entertain that is not being generated by Paramatma? Is there any possibility of anything
No,
in
no,
your life that is not fulfilled by Paramatma?
So I
no,
have a question.
no.
No, I'm trying to get Bhaktananda into it and Banu.
I have a question.
There's no easy answer. It is so complex that it takes a great deal of
How do
contemplation
you?
Yes,
to come
yes.
to the actual truth of it.
Um, last week, my I think my son threw the remote behind the sofa, and I was looking for it all over the place. But there was a box right there, and there was some stuff in the box, and the remote was inside the box. I removed the sofa. I moved it here and there, but somehow or other, I knew the remote was in the box, but I did not want to look in the box.
Right. Because you wanted to be the doer
Yes,
and find it.
I
Right?
was like, it's not in the box. It's not in the box. It cannot be in the box. Then my mom came and said, "Hey, look in the box." And it was in the box. Where
Yeah. So, but look at that process. The process of trying to find it was your own plan. And Paramatma empowered you to look
yeah,
according to your own plan.
right.
But
I couldn't find it.
now here's the tricky part. Did Paramatma know where it was?
He knew exactly, but I did not want to follow his instruction. He was telling me, "Look in the
Well,
box.
you,
Look in the
you
box."
didn't ask. You didn't ask,
Yeah, I didn't
did you?
ask. No, I did not ask.
No. You wanted, no, Mom, I want to do this myself. I want to do this my way.
Right.
Look at Frank Sinatra. But I did it my way. That song. Well, yeah, sure, you did it your way, but what empowered you to do it your way? Yeah, you see, without Paramatma, you would not be able to do anything your way. But you're singing a song about I did it my way, which is designed to bewilder and fool people into thinking that you can do things your way, because the great Frank Sinatra said so in his song. So now you're going to go around thinking, well, if I do it my way, it'll be better than doing it some other way. Well,
Right.
that's only partially true. I mean, if you do it just blindly follow others, that's not so good. But if you only blindly follow yourself, it's not that much better. You have
Right.
to understand who's
Isn't
the motive force behind action.
Mm-hmm.
isn't that why we're
And
here in
it-
this
and
material
it's
world?
not,
Because we
that's not the
Oh.
jiva. The jiva is
Okay.
never the motive force behind action.
Mm.
All the
Isn't that
jiva
what-
can do, concentrate, all the jiva can do is desire. And if he desires appropriately, Paramatma will heed his desire and try to fulfill his desire. And why? Because it's a good thing to do. It's good for you when Paramatma heeds and tries to fulfill your desire. Not even slightly. When Paramatma heeds you and tries to fulfill your desire, you may get digging yourself into very deep trouble. So why does he do it? Nobody's seen Edward Scissorhands, but there's that wonderful part where Johnny Depp is there with his fingers all scissors on his
You made me
instead
do
of
it.
fingers. And he said, because you asked. You asked Paramatma, why did you let me do that horrible thing that I knew was wrong? And yet I decided, I was tempted by temptation, by weakness of character. I wanted to do it anyhow. Why did you let me do this, God? Because you asked. That should
Wow.
tell us everything
Because
about our
you asked.
relationship with Krishna.
Mm.
Yes, that's our relationship with Krishna.
Because you asked.
Yes.
So,
Why does the maggot end up eating dead corpses?
Because he asked or she asked.
Yes,
I mean, that's why we're in the material world, huh?
because we asked.
Right. That's
We
why we're
have
here.
desire. And Krishna, remember, Krishna, we are part and parcel of Krishna. Therefore, there's nothing that we desire that Krishna will not try to fulfill.
That
So
brings
it's
the point. That brings the point to this question of. I was thinking about this when the independent desire that we have. Independent desire, is that bad or is that good? How would we classify that? For example, and for a married woman to be independent, having independent desires, besides checking in with the husband and things like that, her independent desire, is that good or bad? How? I mean, Paramatma fulfills it, okay, but then it is not.
Well, we're talking on two levels. One on the level of Dharma, of the way the wife should be with her husband, and the other is the jiva either independently acting or thinking is independently acting or acting under the guidance and control of Paramatma.
So,
In
but
the end, we're talking about, am I willing to be a puppet
Mhm.
and be made to dance by Paramatma? Or do I want to be the live person pretending that I'm independent, even though I can't make a move without Paramatma?
Right.
It's really a question whether I have a direct relationship with Paramatma or a indirect relationship with Paramatma. Basically, everyone has an indirect relationship because they're thinking that they're their body. So while thinking they're their body, they built all these mental constructs about the body. Right?
Acha.
I
Indirect
need
relationship.
gloves. I need gloves. Oh my God, I didn't zip up my pants. So terrible. All those things I wish I'd been wearing underwear. So the thing is that all that stuff is mental activity by trying to control. But if you let go and let God, as the Christians strangely enough say, let go and let God, then Paramatma will direct you as he wants you to do, not as your false ego wants to force him to enable you to do.
What is it, Prabhu? Let go and let.
There's no
With God.
neutral relationship with Paramatma. Either he's the doer or you're the doer. If you're the doer, you're making demands based on your limited perception in your current material body.
And
Let go and
he,
let God.
If you let go and let God, then you go with the flow. You figure out, you say, my dear Lord, I don't know, but you do. Let me go with you, not try to make you my chip finding servant, but let me go with your purpose. And then
Alright.
you'll find yourself in the league of 10,000 years of Kali. If your desire is to be guided by Paramatma, here you are, because that's all we are talking about ultimately, is,
Hare Krishna.
you remember we're saying, is there any part of Prabhupada that you disagree with? Well, judging by our behavior of our body, yeah, 99% of everything we do, we disagree with Prabhupada. But
Right.
if you look at it from the other angle, say, is that Prabhupada's fault that I don't agree? Or is it my fault that I don't agree? Then you'll say, well, let me first of all check out the object of this conversation, which is Srila Prabhupada. Do I agree or do I not agree with Prabhupada on each and everything he says? Is there anything he says that I don't agree? Fair question, isn't it? Is there anything that Prabhupada says I don't agree?
Once you see Prabhupada as a pure
If you
devotee,
don't agree, then you have to figure out what part of what he said is something you consider disagreeable or perhaps even flawed.
Yeah, that's the thing.
once you're convinced that Prabhupada is a pure devotee, we agree with everything what Prabhupada says.
Yes, but do we really do that?
That is the
We try
question.
to implement that. That is different.
Try.
Yeah, we know that Prabhupada is perfect, but how much of that is just what we heard from people? How much of
Sentiment.
that is our own observation?
Yes.
How
Yeah,
much of
that's
Prabhupada, how much about Prabhupada is something somebody else told us, and how much is something we've perceived ourselves?
that's what I've been thinking about, because I have had some experiences where how can you say, many statements that Srila Prabhupada makes is very penetrating to me, meaning that, yeah, this is exactly what he's saying. And I have had good results with following as it is what Prabhupada says. For example, many things that he says about different topics, either we can accept it or we can reject it. For example, he talks about, many things like, for example, black people, women, their natures and tendencies of the Shudras or the Vaishyas, the Brahmins. So if we don't accept these philosophical statements, that means we are not accepting Srila Prabhupada, and then our Siddhanta is not proper, or our Siddhanta is,
Well, and the reason we don't accept is because we are reserving the right to evaluate and judge.
right.
If I say, if I can agree with myself that Prabhupada is infallible, then whenever I hear something Prabhupada said, I won't be trying to figure it out or challenging it. I'll simply try to understand how did he mean that and in what context, and how can I make it part of my life?
Yeah. Then eventually you have that realization where Prabhupada says this is like this, then you experience it, then that situation kind of be like, oh yeah, that's Prabhupada is saying here exactly what's going on.
Yes, that's good with the Prabhupada. But I've been talking about Paramatma, who is the vehicle, the means by which you can read Prabhupada's books. Without Paramatma, you would not know how to read. Right?
Right.
Is there anything in the human body that knows how to read?
No.
If it did, then the dead body could read also.
Is the inner voice Paramatma?
I'm sorry?
Is the inner voice Paramatma?
Can you explain it, Ramachandra?
Is the inner voice Paramatma? Bhanu Prabhu is asking. Is the inner voice Paramatma?
It could, yes-ish. The inner voice could be a memory. The inner voice could be a astral entity speaking through you. It could be a ghost. The inner voice is an inner voice. The question is, if you are surrendered to, when Prabhupada put it as succinctly as you can get it, and I don't think I had it exactly right. Make me dance, make me dance, make me dance. Like a puppet, right?
Puppet in your hand.
No,
So
on the string.
the exact language is less important than the intent. If you are willing to let go of your being the doer of anything, and that Paramatma you're inviting to take over the doership of your life in this body, you see, then giving over everything to Paramatma, all you, Bhanu, or not even Bhanu because that's just your name right now, it will not necessarily be the same name in the next lifetime or the past lifetime. So the doing, when we say make me dance, symbolically that is you be the active being and I will be the passive being.
The role
all
switch.
These things we're talking about go out the window completely.
I said the role switch, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I find it.
For this statement, make me dance.
What?
Make me dance. For this statement, I mean, how do you distinguish between whether the voice is it the mind, a memory, or is it Paramatma? How do you distinguish whether it's coming from Paramatma so that we can be an instrument of
Well,
Paramatma?
yes, but you don't need to involve your ego. I'm going to do this. Just become passive and ask Paramatma, what do you want done? Instead of saying what I want, say, what do you want? I will step aside and you call the shots. You make the moves. You control my hands and feet in this body. You control everything in my life. And I can take a long, hard-earned retirement from being active.
Right. Vashish Prabhu is here.
Wonderful.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Jai.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
We were talking about Paramatma, and we were talking about how do we actually implement Prabhupada's idea, make me dance like a puppet. You see? How do we actually do that? And the question is, the jiva has to be ready to sit down and shut up, even if he thinks he knows stuff, and say, I don't know, because whatever I do know, I learned via Paramatma. If I go to college and get a degree, who's telling me what's the right answer and what's the wrong answer? Well, I think I figured it out. No, Paramatma knows. Paramatma told the teacher, Paramatma told you through the teacher or directly. It's all Paramatma. And then you got the right answer. But that's mundane. Well, mundane, there's nothing wrong with mundane. We have to walk, we have to think, we have to sleep, sleeping, eating, mating, descending. We do all of those things or at some point. And it's a question of not being the doer. The whole idea of having a material body is because I want to be me, this person right here in the mirror. I see him. So many years old, but I had the same feeling when I was 3 or 5. Look in the mirror. Yeah, there I am. Getting that past that perception to the point of that's just a puppet. That's not me. That's a puppet body. We call it the material body. And we believe we are that material body for the most part. So if we give up that idea that I am the material, that I am this body, then I have to say, well, this body is yours to Paramatma. You do the talking. You use this body to advance humanity along the path of the League for 10,000 years. Help this League have no other voice than yours coming through different mouths. Paramatma is already in every jiva, with every jiva, because, as we have explained before, the jiva is part and parcel of Krishna.
Yeah.
And Krishna cannot be denied. So Paramatma incarnates or manifests in the heart of every jiva in the material universe simply to facilitate the jiva's desire. Paramatma, instead of being worshipped us, I mean, we're not even doing Vishnu worship, are we? We are doing Narayan worship or Banu worship or Ramachandra worship or Vashish worship. We're doing whatever it takes to get what we want out of life because of our body. But if I give that up and say, look, my body is just an inanimate object, I am not this body. I think we've heard that from Prabhupada. I am not this body, I am spirit soul. So if I am spirit soul, then please you, Paramatma, who can see everything everywhere, you do the actions, and I, who am simply a one tiny particle of Krishna's self, existence, conscious existence, eternal existence, let me be passive, like a puppet. And you articulate my fingers, my arms, my legs, my face, my head, my body, and my words, my thoughts, my feelings. You who have engineered it all to begin with according to my karma, now let's let go of my karma. Let's let go completely of my karma, and you speak through the mouth that people think is mine. Then we will have success. And that's what Prabhupada said in the Falguni Krishna Panchami. He said, if we all reason together, he said something, there would be so much success or something to that effect, right? And I'm not saying it properly, but Ramachandra, do you know that? Well,
Yes,
anyway,
Prabhupada is saying that. Yeah, Prabhupada is saying that my remembrance of you in that Bhanu, can you look it up? Yes.
1 second.
Why will
Go
Krishna
ahead.
Panchami? That's on the Vedabase?
No, that's Prabhupada's prayer on the boat, on the
Well,
Jaladasa.
I was talking about something I think was in the Falgun Krishna Panchami. But anyhow, that's okay. The main thing, when he was talking to his godbrothers in the Falgun Krishna Panchami, he was saying,
No, it's
you
1961.
know, let us resolve to do this together, you know, instead of
Manu.
just making fruits and flowers. Let's resolve to fulfill our spiritual master's vision and desire. But they didn't know how, because they were still operating as Kanistha in their material body, and they, as according to Prabhupada, let that sink down into, like in the manner of businessmen, you are making disciples.
Right.
So why is that? Because the ego, the sense of self, is not being surrendered to Paramatma. Use my body, use my mind, use my words to fulfill your purpose and mission for all living entities, not just humans, not just Americans and Indians, but to fulfill your purpose for every jiva. And that will enable you, our dear Paramatmaji, it will enable you to not have to do my bidding, because I want the credit for the actions that my body is conducting and my mind is thinking. Can we let go of that? We have to not only let go of it, cent per cent, but the path is easy. Make me dance like a puppet.
Ramachandra Prabhu, should I be searching something?
No, it's fine, Bhanu Prabhu. It's fine.
Okay.
No, it's fine. It's fine, Bhanu Prabhu. Don't need to search.
Okay.
Right.
So do you see that Prabhupada in that poem, Falgun Krishna Panchami, is chastising his godbrothers, but at the same time, he's trying to reawaken in them something that may never have been awakened in the first place, that the words of the spiritual master, he's trying to reawaken in them what they had heard from Bhaktisiddhanta, but the likelihood is they never grasped what they were hearing from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. They didn't know. And they didn't care to know because they had an ulterior creeper growing there besides the devotional creeper, which was, how will I turn this to my profit and substantial? How will I get this temple to be me being the guru of this temple? How will I get this followers and disciples to either bring me great wealth and stuff, or how can I get them to bring me at least some rice and beans so I can make dal? And
Prabhupada says that.
And dalda, vegetable fat for cooking, because I can't afford ghee.
So Vashish Prabhu, you're there? You have any questions, Prabhu? We've been on the air for about 2 hours now.
Yeah, actually, I couldn't meet you earlier.
It's okay.
It's wonderful to have you here, Vashish Prabhu.
Pleasure is mine, Prabhu. Yeah, actually, I don't know whether you have already covered this part, like you're saying, why we don't Paramatma is guiding us, but why are we not? How do we know what Paramatma is guiding us, or it's Maya Devi actually who is tricking us? So that's the main thing. Everyone, see earlier, people who doesn't know Krishna, okay, they are envious of Krishna, right? They're envious of Krishna, and they will try to rebel against Krishna. And they will try to enjoy independently of Krishna. That's the false, that's the pride, kind of the false ego that they have in mind, okay? Because everyone is here in this material world to enjoy independently of Lord Krishna. So they are small Lord here. They're small, they're small Krishnas, like we say, okay, who want to enjoy independently of the Lord. So now, after coming to Krishna consciousness, like after coming to know about Krishna consciousness, we know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, with time, just like Prabhupada's God brothers, okay, and even in our ISKCON earlier, when Prabhupada set up ISKCON, there's the second form of the highest or the second highest form of Maya. First form of Maya, okay, at its peak, or the strongest force of Maya is to think that you are God, okay. But and the second force of Maya is that you take the position of Guru, you usurp the position of Guru, like in the case of Prabhupada's God brothers, okay. They just wanted to usurp the they just wanted to become gurus, right? They just wanted to become guru, the successor of Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. And while Prabhupada created this ISKCON, though he gave clear and direct instruction how initiation should be followed in ISKCON, but the 11 main persons who were at that time were very, very senior disciples, and Prabhupada was engaging them to broadcast the message of Krishna consciousness throughout the world. So these people, they conspired against Prabhupada, okay? They conspired against Prabhupada, and they tried to usurp Prabhupada's position.
Well,
And
yes,
and now
but we were talking. Our topic was Paramatma. For instance, to begin with, Bashi Prabhu, do you believe that Paramatma exists?
Of course. How can we not believe Paramatma exists? How can we not believe it?
Because we keep acting as though we exist and he doesn't.
No, let me. Okay, I'll clarify. I'll clarify on that point. See, whatever. There's Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. Okay, Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. Shastra has been directly enunciated by the Lord Himself, right?
But what is the purpose of Shastra?
To guide us. You know better than me. Okay.
No, guide us where? To what? What goal does Shastra guide us?
Okay, I'll tell you a little glimpse. I give you a little glimpse. Maybe you can elaborate on that. The three main things actually is Sambandhadidev, Abhideyadidev, and Prayojanadidev. You know, first we establish our connection with the Lord. We should know that He is the Lord. And we are the servants. And now the Sambandhadidev, I think, is Abhideyadidev. I think I forgot the description.
Yes.
Like later is a process. Later is a process.
Separates us from atheism.
Yeah, the process, okay, and then finally the goal is Prayojanadidev, okay, the goal is Krishna Prema. So this is the purpose of the scriptures, of the Guru, okay, of the sadhus.
And that is an intellectual understanding.
Yes, intellectual. That's it. Intellectual understanding, right?
So how do we get past the intellectual understanding?
Excuse me?
How do we get past the intellectual scholarly understanding? Because that's all a process of an educated material mind.
Right.
We are materialists by nature because we have bodies. If we weren't materialists, we wouldn't have bodies. We would be pure spirit soul. But because we have desired in such a way to take a body, then we have to understand what is our relationship to Paramatma. And I asked a primal question: do you believe that Paramatma exists? And if you do believe that Paramatma exists, how does he affect or control your manner of thought and speech rather than you controlling it? You see, we all control everything because even we control our idea of what is Paramatma. But the actual fact is Paramatma exists beyond our capacity to control him. He's Vishnu, we're not. So what
See,
do we
Prabhu,
do with that knowledge of Vishnu?
the voice
How
of
do we
Paramatma.
get past our intellect? How do we get past me being the person who is informed by Paramatma and then signing my name to the paper that results from my being taught by Paramatma, instead of just letting Paramatma have the credit?
See, Prabhu, I would like to add something. Okay, maybe I now
Sure.
understood your question. See, the thing is, Paramatma is always guiding, is always accompanying us. Many lifetimes he's guiding, he's
All over
accompanying
the
us.
lifetimes of every living entity in existence
Yes.
in the material world.
And the Paramatma will guide us to a guru, isn't it? It is the
Yes.
Paramatma will guide us to a guru.
But
And
do
now
we take the guidance?
we have to take, that's a challenge actually.
We don't
That's a
take
challenge.
the guidance. We
No, but
essentially try to enslave Paramatma to be our servant.
yeah, order supplier kind of, yes. We like we engage the Lord to be our order supplier. Yeah, but
Exactly. So if I say,
see,
where are my keys? I am saying, servant, where are my keys? To God, to Paramatma. Because I think I can have the authority to demand that knowledge from Paramatma.
but
And
that's why we
we all are doing.
yeah, and
Right?
that's the process of, that's a process of purification. We just need, we say what we just need, but simply need or just need, what is a big challenge actually. Okay, that purification process, and the purification process is, Prabhupada has given the basics. Okay, like chant 16 rounds, follow the 4 regulative principles. This is a basic actually. And when with a later stage, you, for all Prabhupada disciple actually, all those who claim to be Prabhupada disciple, they should follow these 4 basic things. Okay, the 4 regulative principles,
That's
chant
for
16 rounds.
Kinista Adhikaris. The 4 regulated principles are for the Kinista Adhikaris,
Yeah,
the beginners.
yeah, but yeah, and when we have to read Prabhupada's books daily, at least 1 hour, and we have to listen to his lecture also. Okay, or
Yeah,
either
these
listen
are
to his
things to
lecture,
do. I'm talking
either
about outcome. We're talking right now about outcomes, not processes. Outcome. For
the
instance,
outcome was,
can I cut to the chase? When Srila Prabhupada the Jaladuta said, make me dance like a puppet on a string, he
yes,
was relinquishing all of the stuff you're talking about and saying, Paramatma, you do it. I will simply be a puppet. And I will appear to
yeah,
be doing it, but you will actually do it, because I no longer want to figure things out. I no longer want to dominate. I no longer want anything. I want you to be you. You know, you're in the heart of every living entity. I
yes,
can't learn that much because I'm not in the heart of every living entity. But if I say to Paramatma, you're in my heart and simultaneously in the heart of everyone's living entity, and because you are yourself in the first expansion of Krishna, second expansion of Krishna, you will be able to know what should be said that I do not know what should be said. Because no matter how much I study and practice and learn and get all the distinctions from Shastra, I still don't know what should be said because I don't have a universal point of view. But you, my dear Paramatma, you have literally a universal point of view, beyond the universal point of view.
That's why Prabhupada said, at the end, I think he says, "Oh Lord, I'm simply praying for your mercy so that I will be able to convince them about your message," isn't it? In the Jaladuta diary. I think, yeah, oh Lord, I'm simply praying for your mercy so that
indicated that he wanted Paramatma to do the talking, not him.
Yeah, but that's Prabhupada. Okay, he is actually he's showing us the process, right? He's showing us the process, likewise.
Absolutely, yes.
See, but the thing is, which in my opinion, see, Prabhupada during that time in 1965, okay, the situation was different. Now, we already have a society, an organization, the institution which he created, though it is now upside down, okay? But you can find some sincere souls. Just like today, we can have Banu Krishna Prabhu.
Institution.
We
What
are
is
having,
that? What is that
we are,
institution?
we are having Ramchandra Prabhu. We are having Chidanand Prabhu. Through him only, I'm here today. Okay. So there are some sincere souls actually. There are some sincere souls. We just have to pray for Srila Prabhupada's mercy so that we can get the association. We can get in touch with these souls. Okay.
Bashish Prabhu,
And
do
yeah.
you agree that the institution is the Kanista Adhikari platform? ISKCON is Prabhupada succeeded in creating a organization.
Majority.
Wait a second. Prabhupada created an organization that is representative of the Kanista Adhikari platform and teaches people to become Kanista Adhikaris. Do you agree with that?
No.
What
Actually,
part do you disagree?
Prabhupada created ISKCON, okay?
What does ISKCON do?
See, but the problem is not with ISKCON actually. The problem is with the people in ISKCON. They are distorting the message of Prabhupada.
If you have problems with people in ISKCON, that proves they're Kanista Adhikaris. The Kanista Adhikari is not self-realized soul. So he will incorporate Krishna consciousness in his life and then do what he feels like doing.
Yeah, but
which is what they're doing in ISKCON. They're incorporating Krishna consciousness in order to do what they feel like doing on their bodily level of consciousness.
It is because at the head level itself, on the higher level itself, they are not sincere. They are distorting the message. That's why ISKCON is not vibrant.
Of course they do. What do you think the Kanista Adhikari is capable of not distorting?
Yeah.
You're distorting. I'm distorting. How about to speak of them? They're in the woods. We're supposedly able to see the situation, but they can't see the situation. They are the situation. And actually, is there anything they're doing that is not Kanista Adhikari?
See, I tell you one thing.
Including all the ridiculous mistakes they're making.
Prabhu, there's one thing.
Yes.
There are some people actually, there are many people actually, okay? There are many people actually who don't know, who Prabhupada has left us with many instructions, right? But there are many people who are not aware of these instructions. So there's a possibility that these people or their followers, their blind followers, they are not aware of these instructions. So it is a duty of those who have those instructions, who know these instructions. It is their duty to share with them these instructions, right?
So how do you determine what is a good instruction, what is not?
This is very simple, Babu. You just have to see.
Can you do it without Paramatma?
Everything actually is based on Paramatma. Everything actually Paramatma is guiding us. If I have the strength today,
do we accept that? But Babu, you're saying he is not guiding us. We're demanding of him. First of all, why would he be guiding us? Why would he be guiding us when we want to know where our keys are, where our other shoe is, whether or not I should eat this or that for lunch? That we are demanding Paramatma to serve us. You don't agree? We're trying to make Paramatma, every jiva wants to make Paramatma his servant. Let's say let's get out of the human category. Prabhupada one time was talking about birds in a park. When you throw grain, out to the birds in the park, and they start going, chirp, 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 and Prabhupada said, people are saying they're having chit-chat over lunch just the way humans do. And Prabhupada said they're not, because what do birds have to say to each other? So then he explains that chirping, chirp, 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 is they're asking Paramatma, where is the grain? Yes. And where is not a grain, it may be a stone, and they don't want to eat the stone disproportionately to the grain. So he's saying, where is the grain? And Paramatma, in the heart of the pigeon is saying, there, 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 there. He's answering each chirp with a piece of grain, pointing it out to the bird who, being colorblind, would not be able to figure it out on his own.
Yes.
That's Prabhupada's words, not mine. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the point of that is that Paramatma is guiding the movement of every maggot towards dead flesh, and of every mosquito towards sucking blood, towards every plant to sinking its roots into the moist and fertile soil so that it can grow upwards. We're not just talking about Paramatma on the philosophical level, and so he's our college professor. Not, hello, are you there? Not Paramatma is always a college professor, but Paramatma guiding the motion and activity of every jiva in the material world. Does that make sense? Do you agree?
Of course, I agree with it, but that's why, because this.
So we cannot look at Paramatma as guiding us in Krishna consciousness. He is guiding us according to what we are asking him to do. That's why I said we make him into our servant or our slave.
That's why we should purify our desire, because there's always a choice. Okay, we are in this material world. There's always a choice, either to enjoy independently or either be a servant of the Lord. This choice is always here.
But if I'm a servant of the Lord, how can I do it when I still have my stupid opinion myself? How can I avoid my own opinion?
How can I avoid my opinion? See, my own opinion, it depends whether it is material or spiritual, right? Now
it's material.
Yeah, it is
my
material.
opinion is material because it's my opinion.
Yeah. Now suppose
go back to Prabhupada saying, make me dance. What did he mean?
Mm-hmm.
How much of an opinion does a puppet have, would you say?
That's Prabhupada's humility, actually, Prabhupada. In my opinion, that's Prabhupada's humility. Okay, he's engaging. He wants to be
puppet. No, my question. Prabhu, my question is: does a puppet have an opinion?
No opinion.
Puppet is dead.
Puppet is dead. Yeah, like you're saying.
A puppet is inanimate. Inanimate objects do not have an opinion. Correct?
Yes, Prabhu. I would like to add something.
But Prabhupada said, make me into an inanimate object that has no opinion. You do the talking through my mouth. That's a big step ahead of what you were talking about.
Yeah. So Prabhupada at that time is already a pure devotee. Okay, he's already a pure devotee. He's a transparent via medium. He's an acharya. Okay, for what he's going to set up, it's gone. That's his mood.
So why, if he's so wonderfully acharya and pure devotee, why does he ask Paramatma to take over his body and he will be quiet and Paramatma will speak instead of him?
But
if he's a pure devotee, why doesn't he do his own speaking?
No, but every devotee, actually, a devotee actually speaks only what is spoken by the Guru Sadhu Shastra.
Yes, because he read about it in the Shastra, right?
Yeah, of course.
No, we have to go past that. Prabhupada, by saying, make me dance like a puppet, relinquished his knowledge and said, you be the speaker and the knower and conduct everything. Because Paramatma is everywhere in the heart of every living entity, everywhere in the heart of every human being as well. And because of that, Paramatma can guide a person who surrenders to him accurately. Whereas Paramatma is forced by every single living entity, regardless of species. Paramatma is forced by those species to fulfill that species' material desire, whether it's an ego desire or it is material desire, an emotional desire, any sort of desire.
Can I ask you a question?
Is being imprisoned by the jivas to fulfill their egotistically oriented desires. So Prabhupada took the opposite view. He said, make me dance like a puppet, meaning you are the speaker through my mouth. I do not think, feel, or will separately from you. Does that make sense?
Joy. Vashish Prabhu, you have a question you want to ask?
No, that's a question. I'm asking, I asked him a question. Does that make sense?
No, actually, see, the thing that you're saying, see, what Prabhupada, of course, is telling to make me dance as a puppet. He's a pure devotee, Prabhu. He's a pure devotee of the Lord.
Can you ask Paramatma to make you dance like a puppet?
That's our wish, actually. What should be our wish, actually?
Do you feel like asking Paramatma, or you'd rather not?
Of course, I should be feeling in such a way. But I know,
Well,
but the thing
okay,
is,
so why
I
don't you do it then? Just say to Paramatma, make me dance like a puppet, and see what happens next.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, why not?
It cuts out the middleman, namely
the
egotist.
thing is,
The false ego of the jiva is the obstacle to becoming a puppet.
Hmm.
yeah. See, I tell you, I would like to share with you something, because
Go ahead.
I know if I won't be simply just see Prabhupada is another level, okay? Actually, like that's what I told you. Prabhupada is showing us the example. He's an acharya, he's leading by example.
Well,
Now,
yeah, he's showing an example.
if you are
We're
telling
saying
me to
showing
do,
an example, but if you're showing an
telling me,
example, then we have to be able
yes,
to follow it.
yes, you're telling me to do that. You're telling me to do that. Can I say like that? But if I do
Not
like that, I
imitate,
can just say,
follow.
okay, exactly. I can just, oh, I can say like I can say like that. Okay, okay, Paramatma, make me dance as you like. But this, I know in my current situation, it will be just a lip service. I'll be a pretender. Just I know if I do that.
Oh, you don't mean it?
What?
You don't mean it? Lip service means you don't actually mean it.
Yeah, means yeah, it's true actually, because to be actually, if one
Would
person
you,
6
let me
months,
ask you, then would you like Paramatma to tell you, to speak through you instead of you cogitating with your very intelligent brain?
see, Prabhu, I tell you one thing. In 2006, when I came to when I came to know about ISKCON, okay, it was in 2006, right? 27th May 2006. Within a
Yes.
few months' time after the training, cultivation, purification, the training which I got from my seniors, I came to know, okay, maybe superficially, and still, I still believe that superficially only I came to know about it. I read many Prabhupada's books also, okay, almost all the small books, Bhagavad Gita and Krishna book, always I've been reading, and I've read a lot of Srimad Bhagavatam. I've been associating with temple devotees doing service, and I've been hearing lots of Bhagavatam classes, okay.
Hey, how did you get past that?
How do you get past what? Like, what do you mean? Because
those are steps towards a realization. So what was the realization you had after you did all those steps?
Yes, I'll tell you. Okay, initially, after in 2006, when I came to know about all this, I was doing service in 2007, 2008. Within these 2 years, it was in 2008 when after 6 months only, the seniors there, they told me, so why don't you join temple? Directly they told me, why don't you join temple? Why don't you join full time? I was shocked. I was shocked. I said, see, my parents, they don't know anything about Krishna consciousness, and I'm the only child of my parents. Always I was telling, but deep within, I know that, okay, I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul. Okay, I belong to Krishna. Always kind of so many parents, I had millions of lifetimes, to billions, trillions of lifetime. So at that time, I had a what in my mind, what to say. It was a struggle, it was a fight going on. And when I happened to hear Rasraj Prabhu, I don't know if you know him, Rasraj Prabhu, I think he's a director of Bhakti Vedanta Institute, all these scientific projects and all that. I think he's in Bombay, he's in charge, I think, right now. And he told one thing, very nice anecdote, he said, earlier, the Westerners, when Prabhupada created this movement, what prevents the Westerners from joining the movement is Mahapap. You know, Mahapap. That means big sinful activities, Mahapap. And for Indians, people of Indian origin, to join this movement full time, to dedicate their lives fully, it's not Mahapap, it's Mabap. You've heard that?
Well, explain.
Yeah, Mahapap and Mabap. Mabap means parents, like mother, father. Okay?
Means what?
Because of mother and
Mother,
father.
father, mother and father.
Relative. Yeah. Bhanu Krishna
Ma
Babu is
Bap.
here. Yeah, Mabap. Mabap and Mahapap. Two different things. So for Americans, for not Americans only, but means Westerners, okay?
Are
Westerners
you
that
saying what disqualifies Westerners to join this movement is Mahabharata?
Mahapap, yes. Means
Why?
because see, if you'll go in America, you'll go in Europe, you'll go in Australia, you'll hand them a book. Actually, if they will read the book, okay, it should make sense. It should make sense, and they should be joining the movement, right? After reading the books, okay, they should associate with some devotees, and
Are
they
you
should
saying joining the movement or joining Prabhupada?
that's the same thing, Prabhu. I mean to say.
No, no,
For
no,
what?
not the same thing at all. Joining the
I mean,
movement is
in a
a
literal
thing that
sense.
owns itself. A movement is something that owns itself. If you read the book and join Prabhupada, then he is your guru.
Even if you join the movement also, even if you join the movement is here to make you surrender to Prabhupada, Prabhu. That's the purpose of
Not
it.
really. It makes you
No.
servant of what you think and feel
No,
and
no,
that
no, no,
you
no,
want to
no,
do.
no, no,
It
no.
makes you
See,
servant
that's
of
what I
your
was.
own
That's
mentality.
what. That's see. You guys are saying, you Prabhus are saying the distorted movement. I'm speaking about the bona fide, genuine movement which Prabhupada wants.
What is a
Wants
movement? What does a movement consist of?
of people, of devotees,
People, you mean human bodies?
human bodies, but we all
Yeah,
human bodies
human
here, right?
bodies. So a
Are we
human
not
body thinks like a human body, doesn't it? It's a jiva in a body that thinks like a human, correct?
Yeah.
We
are
don't
in a
have to
human body.
be human, but we do not have to have a movement of human bodies. We want a body, we want a movement of jivas that are pursuing the transcendental path, devoid of being dragged down by their bodies.
But that's why Prabhupada created ISKCON, isn't it?
He created ISKCON because he wanted a bunch of Kanista Adhikaris, and he got them.
No, Prabhu. I'm
He
sorry, you're
yes.
wrong about it.
Not
I
at
beg to
all
differ.
wrong. What? Because, okay, if he didn't create Kanista Adhikaris, can you name one person in ISKCON who's not a Kanista Adhikari? Do you know any Madhyama Adhikaris?
Of
Do
course,
you know any
many
Uttama Adhikaris?
many of them. Many. Okay, I want to.
What Uttama Adhikari do you know in ISKCON?
Okay, I won't say Uttama Adhikari, but I know people who are on the Madhyama Adhikari and that too on a very
And
high
how do you
level
distinguish that they're on the Madhyama Adhikari platform?
from Prabhupada's books, from Prabhupada's teachings.
And what did he say?
It's
How
written
does he
in the
determine what does the Madhyama Adhikari do?
See, a Madhyama Adhikari, like we have different levels of devotees. These gradations of devotees, this description of devotees are given in the nectar of instructions, right? So one who has what to say, who has come to know about the spiritual path, one who has decided to dedicate his life, okay, for the preaching, for the purpose of his spiritual master. He is taking the spiritual master's instruction as his life and soul. And he's always thinking to expand this movement, okay? He wants to deliver the fallen souls. He wants to be a representative.
According to my understanding, the pre-qualification to become a Madhyama Adhikari, but it's not yet the Madhyama Adhikari.
Yeah, but what if these people like we?
How does let me ask you then? How does the Madhyama Adhikari become the Uttama Adhikari? And what is an Uttama Adhikari, by the way?
And Uttamadhikari, will see. I don't have. I read it, but it's not in my mind. Like I just can't reproduce it right now in my right
Prabhupada
now.
was an
But
Uttamadhikari, correct?
yeah, of course, of course, of course.
Okay.
Okay.
Is a Uttamadhikari in his rasa with Krishna?
Excuse me.
Is an Uttama Adhikari distinguished by being in his eternal rasa with Krishna in Krishna Loka, even if he appears on planet Earth?
Yes.
You agree to that? That's the way Prabhupada explained it to me. But he also explained to me how the Madhyamadhikari, how does the Madhyamadhikari become the Uttama Adhikari? It's much more specific than what you were describing. Prabhupada explained it to me exactly.
Okay, I'm sorry, Babu, but you know what? Prabhupada says, whatever I had to say, I've already said in my books. Okay, I've already written in my books.
So tell me what he said about Madhyamadhikari in his books.
Whatever Prabhupada must have told you, or he has told Giriraj Maharaj, or he has told anybody, he must have reproduced this in his books. Actually, I read one book by Giriraj Maharaj, Giriraj Swami at what time, Giriraj Dasamacharya earlier. Now he changed to Giriraj Swami. Okay, so Giriraj Swami says something. I'll just tell you an example about Prabhupada. Sometimes he will tell something, okay, to his devotees, to his disciples. Actually, whatever he will be telling, it must be from the Shastras. So right now, Shastras are his books, right? Shastras are in his books, his purports. These are the Shastras that we have. The Bhagavad Gita.
What are the Shastras for? What is the ultimate purpose of the Shastra?
To make one a devotee, to make one a devotee, to make one a devotee, to make one Krishna.
What is a devotee? Define a devotee. Define what is a devotee. Huh?
It's not only, see, I'm not talking about Uttamadhikari. I'm talking about,
okay. So how do your understanding of Shastra point to the process of a person? I mean, the Kanistadhikari platform is from the very lowest edge up to what you were describing of somebody who's completely 10% fixed in Krishna consciousness. But from that point, how does he become the Madhyamadhikari? And from Madhyamadhikari, how does he become an Uttamadhikari? That is the purpose of our. That's the purpose of our group here.
Yeah. Maybe next time we have to Bhanu Prabhu, who is good at what to say, at reproducing these things directly on copy paste from database and put it on the screen.
Well, what have you discovered? You've read a lot. You're very intelligent. You're very erudite. You've studied a lot of Shastra. My question is, what have you learned about how the Kanista Adhikari can become the Uttama Adhikari? Is it like Christianity where you die and you go to heaven?
What's the long process actually for the Kanista Adhikari to become?
You die and go to heaven, or is there a process that brings you kinetically into Krishna's presence even in a lifetime, not you die and go to heaven? Everybody in ISKCON is basically in the Catholic Church. The way that ISKCON has become structured with the unelected GBCs, with the Kanista initiator posing as gurus, that all is like the Catholic Church. The gurus are like cardinals in the church, or rather the GBCs like the cardinals in the church, and they're like gurus, which are like scads of popes. And they can add popes and subtract popes in ISKCON. So we cannot put too much stock into that.
See,
obviously, they do not understand the process themselves, or they would have been initiated GBC instead of not initiated GBC.
Prabhu, I would whatever you said, I would like to share something. What you
Go
you
ahead.
use an analogy, the example of Christianity, right? I will say the same thing Prabhupada did for ISKCON in the sense like he created an organization, he created an institution. Okay, just like we have Lord Jesus
An
Christ.
institution
Yes.
or 100 million institutions?
No, he created one institution, ISKCON Society.
He said in Seattle, 1968, to a newspaper reporter who asked him, Swami, when you are no longer here, are you going to create a structure like the Catholic Church? And he said, no, that is the opposite of what we want. We want it to be not a hierarchy, but a lower hierarchy. We want everyone to be individually responsible for his own spiritual life, not in an organization.
Oh,
And
Joy.
really?
he said
I would
that.
like
And it's,
I would really love to get this code, Prabhu,
well, pick
because I
it
haven't
out of the
seen that.
database. Look for it. It was a conversation in 1968 with a newspaper reporter. It shouldn't be too hard to find. And the thing is that what happened is he intended with the GBC, as you may know if you've read the direction of management, he wanted each temple to be independently incorporated, not part of an organization. Independent temples, independently incorporated with the government. So if you have an apartment and you go to the way Madhu Pandit did, he started in a house and he made it ISKCON temple. Then he built it into what he has now. That's what Prabhupada wanted. He didn't want a big, overwhelming, upwardly controlling organization such as ISKCON has become. He wanted each temple to be independent. That means that the GBC goes to a temple, and you could have in Los Angeles 10,000 temples because
Whatever you're saying,
because
for
each devotee
this
can
is
create his own temple and incorporate it with the government.
yes.
That's what
I
he
don't
wanted,
disagree.
not
I'm not
a
dis
hierarchy.
I'm not disagreeing with part of what you're saying.
You
Okay,
said he made
I'm
this
not disagreeing.
organization. He did not make what you call the organization. The organization wanted itself to be wanted to expand its
Self,
control so that it could control all the temples. As a result, in Los Angeles, there's only one temple.
I think he told that I want each and every temple to be self-sufficient. Something he said like that.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Yes.
but
That
how
I
many
agree.
temples could you have that are self-sufficient?
Many, innumerable. Yes, I
Well,
agree
how
with you.
come there's only one in Los Angeles? You could have 20,000 in Los Angeles.
But this
You
is
have any
yeah, but this
Catholic church? There's
yeah.
15,000 Catholic churches in Los Angeles.
But
Why
Prabhu,
only one ISKCON temple?
Prabhu, that's what I'm trying to do over the parallel. See, there may be 16,000 churches, or I don't know how many thousands of churches they are having, but all these churches, they are affiliated to one particular organization, like to the Catholic Church, or I
I
don't know
know
what.
they
That's
are,
what
but the difference
they,
between that and ISKCON is that the ISKCON temples are absolutely controlled by the top at GBC, and whereas the Catholic churches have a great deal of independent freedom that we do not have in ISKCON.
yes, see, the thing what you're saying, sometimes you see, I think that
I'm not
that's what
mistaken.
I'm,
I hope you
but
realize
that,
that.
but I am also saying the same thing. But when you're
Are
saying
you?
that the
We're
present
talking about
GBC,
an organization. Prabhupada
yes,
did
actually,
not want an organization. He
no.
wanted
But what's
individual temples studying his
no,
books and practicing Krishna consciousness, going out on Sankirtan. Even if there's just 2 or 3 people in each temple, he wanted
then
them
what's
to
the
go
purpose?
out on their own
Then
and preach,
then what's the
not that they would be
then
part of a big organization. Do you agree with
no then
that?
see, actually he wants an organization. What you are saying is half. It's half truth actually. He wants. I'm sorry to say that. Huh? Actually,
Where did
he
he
wants.
plan or where did he decree that there should be an organization? Which
But
document?
but what's the purpose of directional management? Directional management is all about that. He said what the GBC is the ultimate managing authority in his will. In 4th
In
June,
his
I think,
will?
something like that.
But he
Yeah,
didn't
in his
say
will.
they shouldn't be elected, did he?
They
In
should
his
be
will?
elected, actually. They should be elected. But
So
see, what is direction
the
of
GBC is supposed to manage the things in his will. I just read his will a few days ago.
see, one thing is here. In direction of management in 1970 and 1974, he has spoken elaborately on how GBC should be elected, right?
Yes.
What is the thing? Now
Were
in
they
his
ever
will,
elected?
no, we were not. But he has given the blueprint. He has given the protocol, the blueprint. It's upon the disciples to follow it now. Having
What?
said that, he has,
I don't get it.
excuse me,
What are you
has
saying?
given the blueprint Prabhupada has given how GBC should be elected. Okay?
Well,
How?
no, it's a
Yes.
direct order from Krishna through the mouth of Prabhupada and accepted by his 12 of his leading disciples who if they broke their word to him after signing it and vowing to uphold the direction of management, ceased to be disciples at all. You cannot be a disciple and reject your spiritual master's direct order, particularly if you sign your name and vow with your life's blood to uphold your spiritual master's direct order.
I agree. But in
Okay, so
Prabhupada's
where
will,
do you disagree?
I disagree with what you're saying. Prabhupada didn't create an organization.
Where's your disagreement then?
Excuse me?
You are disagreeing because you're talking about an ISKCON organization. Prabhupada did
Yes.
not want an ISKCON organization. He wanted each temple to be autonomous.
See, yes, this one I agree. See, you are saying two things. Each temple should be autonomous. I agree with you. Okay. But these temples should be answerable. Okay. They should be accountable to the GBC member. Now, the GBC member, he cannot act. He cannot act
They're
like
not supposed to be accountable. Did you read the direction of management?
of
They're
course
not,
we
the
want.
temples are not accountable to the GBC.
Accountable, I mean to say, see, it's
The
very
GBC
clear.
is supposed to be composed of temple presidents for a 3-year period of time.
Yes.
How do you become accountable to something that shifty?
Accountable, by accountable I mean, see, each temple accountable accountable in the sense not every single detail, okay, about the management of the temple, what should be left to the local people actually. But see, the thing is,
The
GBC
control of each temple is with the
shouldn't.
individual. Even if a person has a ISKCON temple in his living room of an apartment building, and he has people in 3 or 4 people a week, he can have an ISKCON center there incorporated by him without
But
any control
it shouldn't
at
be
all.
whimsical also. That's
The
why
GBC
Prabhupada
has
created a
never been
society.
described as controlling the temples.
Yes,
Never.
yes. I see. I agree with this. I agree with
Well,
this
then
part. What
why
you're
do you
saying.
keep talking the opposite?
No, I'm not talking opposite. I'm
Then I
just
misunderstand what you're saying.
there are some areas where it's not, there's some confusion. Okay.
Which
The
is
thing
where the
is,
confusion. What is the confusion?
okay. The thing is that a simple example. Let me take. Okay. Now, suppose in one particular center or in one particular temple, okay, there are devotees. There are devotees who are coming, new people, newcomers are joining, and they have reached a point where where they are serious now. They are following the 4 regulatory principles, and they are chanting the minimum 16 rounds. And time has come for them to take initiation, formal initiation. Now, for them to take the formal initiation, the temple president just cannot, out of his own will, say, okay, you will be named, your name is John, your name will be Janardhan now, Janardhan Das. Or let's say, okay, tomorrow we'll conduct a fire ceremony, your name is this, here, take this what to say, take this japamala and all, and he conducts it on his own. That is not possible for a temple president. That temple president, he should send the
Who is it?
recommendation.
Who is it possible? Who can do that?
That's what the Ridvik. That's why Prabhupada created that system. Nine July letter is all about this Ridvik, right?
He created
It's all about
the for a completely different reason. He knew what they were planning to do. He knew that they were.
No.
The,
Well,
the
actually,
people that were the Ritviks were poisoning him. Was poison to kill him.
Some of the Ridviks were poisoning him. I agree with you. Yes.
Yes. Which ones were not? Tamal was poisoning him. Bhavananda was poisoning him. Chaipataka was poisoning him. And the others knew that he was being poisoned. Because Tamal had convinced them that Prabhupada was senile, and they didn't want Prabhupada to sit on the Vyasasana in front of 5,000 people, drooling like an idiot and unable to complete a sentence. So they poisoned him for his own sake, to save him, to save the movement from Prabhupada. That was what Narayan Maharaj convinced Tamal to do.
See, right now, because you have evidence, you're saying this now, and we accept this because we know it. This actually happened, actually. But like I'm telling you, Prabhu, okay, this Prabhupada has given the blueprint, okay, how ISKCON
What
should
is
be
that blueprint? What is
just
the
like
blueprint?
the group. It's in the direction of management. It's in Prabhupada's will. It's in Prabhupada's blueprint of Prabhupada is his books.
What
or
is
his book.
the blueprint that Prabhupada gave to how he wanted the movement to be structured? I happen to know because I've worked on it on the legal level for many, many, many decades.
That's what there are legal documents. So read these legal documents and you come to know. And among these
So
legal
what did
documents,
Prabhupada do to structure ISKCON? How did he want it structured? Do you know?
but that's why he created this there should be a temple, right? There should be a temple. The temple it should run parallel according to the government laws, okay, the existing constitutional laws of that particular country, okay.
Well,
This
ISKCON temple is incorporated according to the basic charter that Prabhupada first made when he started the first ISKCON charter for ISKCON temples in New York. It's not very complicated, and it doesn't have a lot of parts to it. And it does emphasize the independence of each temple.
Yes, independence of each temple is there. Like one temple in America or in specific place like Sacramento or New Jersey, that particular person who has done all his the president, the temple president, after doing all his procedures, okay, government procedures to establish one temple, nobody from no devotee from London or from any Tom, Dick, and Harry from London, Australia, or Africa cannot go and disturb the management over there. That's
Yes,
that's
and
the thing.
neither can the GBC do that. Although during Prabhupada's time, the GBC did exactly that.
Yes, that's the point. That's the point. That's the point that what you're saying.
Yes.
The GBC actually,
Even when Prabhupada was here, they did exactly that. They like to say that because Prabhupada didn't pull out a pistol and shoot them, that meant he approved.
Yes,
but they don't understand Prabhupada's bigger vision. He didn't approve, he tolerated.
Prabhu, let me clarify on this, Prabhu. You're right when you say GBC.
Prabhupada is aiming for our group right now to clarify everything. We're not just arguing with each other. We are clarifying for the next 10,000 years.
Yes, surely.
Does it make sense?
Yes, of course.
And you're going to be a major factor in that. You've got an incredible brain, but you have been given quite a lot of not complete and sometimes even erroneous information. So we have to sort that out before we can go powerfully forward.
Information, if it's from Prabhupada, maybe there are some Prabhupada instructions which have come across, but maybe I have not understood it properly. Maybe you are here to clarify this.
Instructions
Okay?
are very simple. Follow the four
Yes.
regulative principles and chant Hare Krishna. What other
Yes.
instructions are you aware of?
But this is the basic, Prabhu. Now to create one temple, the procedures to create one temple are all those. Okay, this is in
Each
Prabhupada's
temple does the
order.
same thing. They chant Hare Krishna, go on Sankirtan, offer prasadam to the deity. How much more complicated do you think it needs to be?
Yes. No, it's not complicated at all. No, it's not complicated at all.
It's
It's not complicated
complicated
at all.
now because all the organizations, including Bangalore, are all big material organizations that are operating on the Kanista Audicard platform in one way or another.
Okay, you can say about their Kanishta and all this, but see what they
Well,
are
what
doing.
are they?
Also,
Are they Madhyam? Are they Uttama? If they're not Madhyam,
the
and
seniors,
if they're
the
not Madhyam and
seniors,
not Uttama, then they're
see,
Kanista.
the
Anybody
seniors,
chants Hare Krishna and follows the regular principles is a Kanista Audicard.
presently, all the governing body commissioners in this Hare Krishna movement, that is
Who
ISKCON
are
Bangalore Global
they?
Temple.
What governing body commissioners?
Yes, they are. You'll
They
find it in
don't
mentioned.
exist. Do you feel
No,
they
they
have a
are.
right to exist? Do they have a right to exist?
Of course, why not?
Because they weren't elected.
They are elected
By whom?
by the different centers by the different centers under ISKCON Bangalore group of temples.
So the individual temples put up a slate of candidates to become GBC every 3 years, and the
Of course,
GBC is
yes,
there for
yes,
3 years. Are you telling me
yes,
that?
yes, yes,
Where?
Prabhu.
Where?
What
Not
but
in my awareness. The GBC
it may
created themselves
it
as
may not
an
it may
absolute
not
group that dictates to others.
it's not we are dictating to others. Okay, we don't just like you're saying, we don't like to say they
Oh,
want
where's
a
the election? What was the last GBC election you were aware of?
it happened maybe I don't know how many elections are possible. I think it was
Every
since
3 years, you
2012.
have to have an election.
Yes,
So
yes,
where is the election? In the
since
election, all the
2000.
temple presidents participate in the
Yes,
election of
yes,
the GBC.
yes,
Where have you
yes.
seen that?
I haven't seen because I'm not in Bangalore. Okay,
You're
I'm not
not
in
where?
India. But
He's
thing
talking
is,
about the Bangalore ISKCON having a GBC and which is being elected every
yes,
3 years.
yes.
Do you feel that the GBC are elected every 3 years?
But they are conducting their election. Yes, Prabhu.
They don't conduct the
Yeah.
election. The temples conduct the election.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Okay, the different we have 25 centers. All the 25 centers, their presidents or the three members, I think, who are the senior most in these the senior most
No, the
persons in charge of the
GBC
temple.
is meant to be elected from the temple president for 3 years. Then he goes back
Not
to being the temple president
yes,
afterwards.
yes. That's a
So that's
process actually.
you say that is actually happening.
Yes, you can ask Madhupandi Prabhu or any nearby centers if you have any
I'm not
connection
talking
with
about
them.
Madhupad, I'm talking about ISKCON in general.
No, but ISKCON in general is not doing that. I'm talking.
That's
See,
what I'm talking about.
Madhupandi Prabhu actually see. Suppose you are saying about this league of devotees for the 10,000 years. I don't know what you are saying, but suppose tomorrow we get 100 people. Okay, we get 100 followers, and each followers, okay, each people, there's myself, there's Ronald Singh Prabhu, there's Ramchandra Prabhu, there's Bhanu Krishna Prabhu, and there are others also. Okay, suppose tomorrow we become serious. We have one time we are in one of our centers. In one of our center, we are getting many people, many devotees who are coming or
Well,
starting
right
to
now,
practice.
you see, we're not concentrating on either being in a center or creating a center. We're interested in finding the definitive path, how to surrender to Paramatma so that Paramatma is the one who speaks when we open our mouths, not us speaking, but Paramatma speaking. And we're also trying to understand if we even believe that Paramatma exists, because in our daily life, we act as though Paramatma doesn't exist. Behave by our behavior. We act as though that our body is our self, and we need to extricate ourselves from that illusion. That's what this group is for, to extricate ourselves from the illusion that I am my body.
Yes.
Not with philosophy, but by realization.
But
With
the
philosophy, we
philosophy,
already have. We've been through it a million times. Now we need to prove it by our group, the league that we are creating. The league needs to be able to speak only make me dance like a puppet. In other words, we want Paramatma to be the only speaker through each of our mouths. Do you like that idea? That was very exalted
I know. I tell
idea.
you one thing, Babu.
It
See,
is
maybe,
devoid of humanity. It is divine or spiritual,
Mhm. I would like
transcendental.
to add something. I would like to share something, Babu.
Please do.
Yeah, just like you're telling me, you were not aware, but ISKCON Bangalore
What?
group of temples, they are conducting this election for the GBC, and I tell you,
In Bangalore.
yes, Bangalore center, Bangalore.
But
group of
Bangalore is
temples,
one of us.
yes.
I'm talking about ISKCON as a whole.
No, ISKCON as a whole, you can't right now at present, we can't include ISKCON as a whole because ISKCON, the mainstream ISKCON, they have deviated.
So our goal is to inspire the members of ISKCON as a whole to adopt the notions and ideas and realizations that we're coming up here, hopefully guarded by Paramatma in this league for 10,000 years.
See, the thing is,
Do you like that?
just like we have,
Would
we
you
have
like to
Ramchandra
be
Prabhu.
the person that saves ISKCON as a whole?
Would I like to be the person who what?
Saves ISKCON as a whole.
Save ISKCON as a whole.
You would like to save all of ISKCON.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, good. That's what we're talking about here. But we
Yes.
can't do it. My conjecture is we can't do it by using our brains. We can, or even our hearts. We can only do it by allowing ourselves to become transparent via media of Paramatma.
Of course. To even bring
He
one
will
people,
talk, the Paramatma will speak through us and show us
of course.
exactly how, because Paramatma is the object as well as the process.
Mhm.
We want Krishna to guide us, huh?
Yes.
But not just through our brain having read a book. We want Krishna to guide us now. As
But one thing is there. One thing is there, Babu. Just
yes,
Ramchandra Prabhu, I think, has been associating with the mainstream ISKCON. Ask him how difficult it is to convince the mainstream devotees of Prabhupada's final instructions regarding initiation or direction of management. It's very, very difficult. Also, I don't know about
we
Bhanu
don't
Krishna
have to
Prabhu.
convince them.
Oh, then
Our goal is not to convince anybody of anything. If we speak the truth, they will see that their emperor has no clothes, that the Kanista initiators that they mistakenly refer to as successor gurus, these Kanista initiators are not qualified. And it states clearly in the Nectar of Instruction, Upadeshamrita, that the Kanista is not qualified to become guru. So if they've been convinced of that to become guru, then our job is to show that the body of Shastra says it's impossible for the Kanista Adhikari initiators of ISKCON to be gurus. It's impossible. It is
by showing
forbidden
them,
by no one less than Rupa Manjari in the spiritual sky.
Yes.
Rupa Goswami was Rupa Manjari. She came down and wrote the Upadeshamrita and we are busy ignoring it.
Prabhu, by showing
Yeah.
them the message, by conveying them the message, ultimately it is to convince them, isn't it?
Well, what's the difference?
Yeah.
We don't have to convince any human being of anything.
We just
All we have to do
present
is do what Prabhupada did.
them.
Speak
Yes,
the
yes,
truth.
Yes. Just
Prabhupada
showing.
acted in behalf. Prabhupada acted in behalf of Krishna. He didn't try to convince anybody of anything.
Yes, 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 yes. Yes,
In fact, he never did. He spoke and people were attracted to what he said.
yes, yes, yes. Mhm.
So why we should do the same thing?
Yeah, we also do a thing. We should be aiming
Yeah,
at the same
but
thing.
without constantly going into every book that we've read. Prabhupada didn't
just
talk about every book that he read. He simply
we just
spoke the
need
truth
to-
because he knew the truth.
Yes, we just speak what Prabhupada said or written or want us to know.
Yes, but
We
also
only-
what
we only
Prabhupada
say that.
wanted and what he meant. Even if there are so many things Prabhupada could have said that he couldn't say because people would have taken it very wrongly.
Yes, yes, I agree with you. I agree with you because according to
Thank
time,
you.
place, circumstance,
Because if you read a lot of Shastra, in the Shastra that you read, you are getting ideas that Prabhupada did not say to his disciples because they weren't ready to hear them yet.
yes,
And
they were not in a position.
our conjecture here at the League for 10,000 years that we are going to create the platform for 10,000 years. For instance, Prabhu, Vasish Prabhu,
Yes, I'm here.
when do you think you will go back to Krishna Loka?
I'm least bothered about it, Prabhu.
Huh?
I'm least bothered about it.
I can't understand.
I'm least bothered about when I'll be going to Krishna Loka. First,
Thank you.
I have to follow the regulatory principles and chant the rounds and do my service properly. All the small things that Prabhupada has said in his books.
Okay, but do you
instructions
think you'll go
made-
back to Godhead in this lifetime or in 20 or 100 lifetimes?
I don't know, maybe 100 also is too less.
Huh?
Maybe 100 also is less.
100 lifetimes?
Yeah, that is also less, maybe.
Okay, that's intelligent. That's what our group is formed around. Because we started out with, well, our friend, our godbrother, Chidananda.
Chidananda actually doesn't know many things. I don't know if he's here, but even if he's here,
not here right now.
don't
I
mind
don't know. I
saying
wish he were here. I really love his association.
Yeah, but I tell
but
you,
the thing is,
no.
why isn't he here?
Because he's least, I don't know what you have to ask him. I can't answer on his behalf. See, suppose
Can you arrange? Can you call him up? Your local calls with him, right? You're both in the same country, same island. Can you ask him to join us again?
He doesn't want to. He doesn't want. I don't know. See, he's a confused soul. He's a confused soul. He's a confused person.
That's what we're doing here. It's the ghosting to become unconfused by our mutual association.
Maybe he became more confused. That's why he doesn't want to to join in.
But he was joining in a few days ago.
Yeah, but presently he's not joining.
Things are getting clearer and clearer by the session.
What did he tell you?
Yeah, just like Bhanu Babu, just like you are here, you want to know. Bhanu Babu, he's convinced that the present mainstream devotees, they are distorting Prabhupada's teachings, right? And new devotees are trying to
put it this way: they are following the instructions imperfectly.
Yes, that's what. Yeah.
I don't like to say distort.
But our Chidanand Prabhu actually, he knows that the mainstream devotees, okay, they are deviating. They are not following Prabhupada's instructions. But how much they are deviating, but he doesn't have an idea because he doesn't know Prabhupada's instructions clearly. I have one I am associating with some devotees, local devotees in Mauritius. Mauritius is very small actually, about 1,800 square kilometers. Okay, about 1,800 square kilometers. We have around 10 to 15 people who 10 people, okay, 10 to 15 people who knows about the direction of management, okay, and who knows about the 9th July letter and all. And we are trying to meet up, okay, and try to do something, try to expand, to increase our circle of friends or devotees. Yes. I told him to come in the meeting.
Who?
Chidanand Prabhu.
Yes.
But he's so puffed up, okay? He is rushing. He wants to do Varnashram Dharma without having the right knowledge. He's thinking big, okay? He doesn't even know how to shoot with a gun, and he's planning to what to say, to
murder,
to launch missile.
He wants.
Yeah, he wants to without knowing how to shoot a revolver. He wants to launch intercontinental ballistic missiles. You got it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
well, we can create Varnashram in Mauritius.
We can create Varnashram, but first of all, we need to have devotees. We need to have devotees first. We need to cultivate devotees for that first.
First, we need to know what to do, because it has to be divided by Varna.
What needs to be done?
Varnashram Dharma, you have to have Shudras, Vaishyas, Kshatriyas, and Brahmins, all initiated devotees. Prabhupada disciples.
See,
they're all equal spiritually, but different according to task.
Abilities, yes. Their abilities, capabilities are different, yes. But to get these, Prabhu, that's why Prabhupada, for 11 years, from 1966 till 1977, he was mainly focusing on creating devotees. He was focusing mainly with his organization, with his institution to create devotees. Of side by side earlier, also he was creating form communities, but his main thing was to create devotees. Vaishnava class of people.
I understand that, but I have books of Prabhupada's quotes on Varnashram.
Prabhu, I'm sorry, I have to take leave now. Okay, I have some important work. I'm getting calls also. Okay, I'll contact you afterwards. You
have to get to your pharmacy.
I'll call you afterwards. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Anyhow, look, you and I can talk to perfection. Okay. Haribol.
Hare Krishna. Love. Haribol. Again next time.
So that's an interesting angle.
He had to go.
Yeah.
I think we have to go too.
Who's we?
It's been.
Who's talking? Is this Ramachandra?
Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. That's me.
Okay, but let's discuss a little bit before
yes,
jumping out.
No problem. Yes, go ahead.
So, Vasish seems to have a very different view of Chidananda than we've had.
It seems like it, huh?
Were you hearing what he said?
Yes.
Does anybody know why
Chidananda? Was he there during our conversation from Varnashram then, Vasish Prabhu?
No.
So is he saying that he was hinting that Chidananda is not sincere? Now he was also saying that Chidananda wants to start Varnashram society, and that was our own suggestions with him also, was it not?
Yes, yes. I think my analysis is that Vashish wants him to take Ritvik initiation from ISKCON Bangalore, or accept that management system of ISKCON of Bangalore. And Chidananda Prabhu just, is too old for that. He wants to do something with land and cows.
Well, he's already initiated. What does he need to take another initiation for?
No. I'm saying Vashish is trying to get him on that
But why?
bandwagon. I have no idea why.
Because he
Seems like
believes
he's
that Bangalore ISKCON is, I mean, whatever the July 9th, 7th letter, 9th letter,
he's
Bangalore
indoctrinated.
ISKCON is authentic, he feels. That he is showing evidences,
I
discussing
thought,
about on that subject.
Bangalore
This week,
didn't
this week.
accept outsiders, like non-Indians.
I think the 11 appointed ones.
Don't you think my view that they were worshiping the basil instead of Tulsi takes care of Chidananda's initiation by Bhagavan? That he actually thought he was taking initiation from Prabhupada, but Bhagavan claimed to be Prabhupada's successor, but it was just a case of mistaken identity. Everything he did, he might as well have been initiated by Prabhupada. All his service was good, impeccable.
No, that is not the question. The question is Vashish Prabhu's intention of bringing ISKCON Bangalore and this management, of Ritviks and fire sacrifices and the GBC and the whole mumbo jumbo of
To
style.
Mauritius.
Yeah, to Mauritius and to everywhere else that doesn't have a system like ISKCON Bangalore or they should be following
ISKCON
that.
Bangalore, for all of its flaws, is less flawed than any ISKCON temples.
Right.
They're
But
also trying to act as.
I keep on pushing. Are we or are we not in agreement on the topic of we need to explore the 10,000 years that we're going to be here?
Yeah, that's the main
And
topic.
figure out
But when
what
he
we're going to
comes,
do in those 10,000 years and how to create a structure to deliver all the fallen souls on the planet, and also how we ourselves will become Uttamadakaris inside of that 10,000 years. It looks like our
yes,
plate will be, if we do all of that, our plate will be quite full for 10,000 years.
yes,
We're heading on the we're on the
I mean,
direction.
the question is, if a person hesitates, and I imagine practically any sensible person would hesitate, the question is, what is the alternative?
right. What is it?
Is it in fact that we have no alternative? I look at the League for 10,000 years as the inevitable fate of anyone who has heard the holy name from Srila Prabhupada.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so, and that means anyone who's, well, you can still hear the holy name from Prabhupada, just turn on your tape recorder or your CD player, or your internet connection. It's not difficult to hear Prabhupada, right?
Right. Very easy.
People don't want to do it, but that doesn't mean it's not easy. So the question rests that if considering the Srila Prabhupada's sound vibration in one way or another is going to persevere and penetrate throughout 10,000 years, do we have a choice not to take part in that 10,000 years? We have to figure it out. Do we have a choice not to do it and still remain devotees of Krishna?
How can you remain a devotee if you don't choose to participate in it?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? Most people think they're going to die and go to heaven.
What about the people who are like
Salvation. They think they're going to
Sampradaya,
experience a
Brajavasis,
Christianity on steroids. So the question is, I'm just raising the questions, really. How long before we become Uttamadakaris? Do we have a choice but to take birth again and again and again for 10,000 years on planet Earth? Those two are compatible questions. How long to become a Uttamaddhikari? I'm sorry, did I say Kanistha? How long to become an Uttamaddhikari? And are we going to be here for the rest of the 10,000 years? We're taking birth after birth as increasingly powerful preachers. Yes or no? I don't know the answer to the question, but it looks to me algorithmically that yes, we have no choice but to remain here, because the only way we can escape is to leave Lord Chaitanya and leave the holy name of Krishna behind. And do we really want to do that? Does anyone want to do that? That's engaged in chanting. Why would they give that up? For what? Now, the question is, you might go to a heavenly planet. That's possible. If you go to a heavenly planet, that is a whole different question. And I don't know the answer to it. But if a person goes to a heavenly planet, does that separate them from being a chanter of the Hare Krishna mantra? Or does it just simply spread the preaching field to the higher planets? So then we have to know, do I believe that Paramatma exists? And if so, what is my experience of being guided every minute of every day by Paramatma rather than by my own desires? Does that make some sense too?
Yes.
Okay, so how do I, guided by Paramatma? Then the next thing is, can we create a group of persons who, at least in the group, are deliberately and directly guided by Paramatma? In other words, our league, could that be a league of people guided by Paramatma? That's not the same as being an Uttamaddhikari. The Uttamaddhikari is a much different category.
We need to have sessions exclusive to how to be guided by Paramatma. Some sessions exclusively dedicated to it.
You're saying?
We need to have sessions exclusively dedicated to how to be guided by Paramatma, like make me dance, like perfect in your hands.
Yeah, well, you get directed by Paramatma when you ask him to do everything and you do nothing.
And then you ask questions. So what do you think about it? How do you answer when we don't get an answer?
What's the right answer?
Unless we get an answer, we can't answer about it.
We're encouraging
Rather than
independent
using
thought.
the brain.
Yeah, so we are encouraging independent thought as independent philosophers or reasoners. So, Ramachandra, is there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so what do you think? We had some conversation on it. There's categorical statements. Are we quote unquote trapped here for 10,000 years because we've taken up chanting after Lord Chaitanya, or not? That's a question, you know. Is Paramatma real or not?
How can we
Can
be
one
trapped?
experience Paramatma or not? Can you give your sense of temporary self to Paramatma to guide you or be the motive force behind every move you make? That's a very important thought. You see, we're projecting way beyond our own expectations here. Things I would never dream of, except they came up in our conversations here by you brilliant individuals creating a context either by saying or hearing properly, you make it happen. And I think Krishna wants us to do this. I really honestly think that we are part of the solution, not part of the problem. But what is the solution? You see, Vasish thinks the solution is to try to either create an alternative ISKCON or hammer the truth into the heads of the stupid people in present ISKCON.
Oh, right.
And I don't agree with either notions. I think that all we have to do is speak the truth, and Bangalore will join us too, because Bangalore is not infallible. They too are acting like a religion, but they're acting like a more authentic religion than this kind is right now.
Right.
But we're all operating from the material bodily platform.
Yeah, organization.
Purified body, nice body, pious body, but body. I mean, it's amazing how people absolutely refuse to consider that they are not their body. We say it enough, but how do we realize it? Right? But I don't think you can realize it unless you surrender to Paramatma and let him be the doer. And the opposite, it comes to me at least quite repugnant, that if I want to do something and I try to get Paramatma to help me, why should Paramatma be my helper when he's God? I should be his helper, not him be my helper. Why am I putting Paramatma so low compared to me? My body, my mind.
Quote in Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, I think so. When there are individual soul is there and the soul is guided by Paramatma, is eternally reminding him of his original nature.
Yes. So you're saying which verse of the Gita?
I can't name the verse, but just recalling it.
So what does it basically say?
When Krishna is reminding him of the real nature of the soul, I mean, he's guiding him. Is there because to remind the soul to be Krishna conscious. The Paramatma is that is the real I mean, goal, reason behind there with the soul.
What do you think, Ronald Chandra?
Well, I was this verse Bhanu Prabhu was talking about. Krishna is saying some look on the soul as amazing, some hear about him as amazing, and some hear about him and cannot understand him at all. I think Krishna
that's
is
the
saying,
soul. That's the soul, and that's another question. Do we
and
believe
Paramatma
that do we believe that the jiva actually exists?
Yeah, I mean that can apply to Paramatma also. One look, see the Paramatma as amazing. They hear about Paramatma.
Very nice realization.
And then they can hear about it, but they cannot understand him at all. So this.
I mean, the soul. You can understand that there's a soul, but you can understand that this Paramatma. That is another level of it.
So the secret to our success will be being able to step out of the asat consciousness of the body and enter into the sat realm of the jiva. We leave the material consciousness that I am the body, and I come back to that I am the jiva. I am aham brahmasmi. I am the soul, myself. And then, if Paramatma then guides, then we need to understand the process by which he guides. And if we are preaching, we can ask him, make me dance like a puppet. And he will do the speaking through our mouths.
So practically,
but that means we have to stop thinking we know anything.
Practically going, I mean, the body is growing, it's changing, it's growing and taking on a different body every 10 years or so. That shows that we are not the body, but we are the soul. And we're taking another body after the death. So that shows the presence of the soul, that we are the soul, not the body. But what about Paramatma?
That's
How
true.
do we?
That's true also for animals and ants and bugs and mosquitoes and maggots. Do they know anything about this? Or do they just go keep following their instincts till they die and they take another birth in a different body? See, right now, the people that I'm aware of in Los Angeles are frighteningly doomed because they're spending and living like there's no tomorrow. They're getting into the very Bollywoody way of being. And that's simply spending their karma more rapidly than if they were tilling a farm in the middle of the prairie somewhere. They're not utilizing their energy productively. They're taking pride in wasting time and taking drugs and doing all that stuff. Well, what will happen at the time of death? You know, it's not going to be very nice for them at all. And that's all the people we're trying to deliver. And so far, we're not making much effort in that direction. But what we're doing is going for the central thing, which is this our association for 10,000 years and league for 10,000 years. And when we establish that, that will bring all the people that we all care about to a higher realization, not to follow us, but to follow themselves as independent philosophers back to home, back to Godhead. They don't need the gurus. And they don't need the bogus GBC. The temples should all be just temples. They can do fine. And the GBC, if elected, can make sure it stays fine. That's it. It's not that complicated. I mean, talking about the Uttamarakari, you have to read a lot of books. Has nothing to do with an Uttamarakari. And Uttamarakari is sort of the opposite of books. It's 100% realization. Manu, what do you think? Is your mind blown away? I hope. You're really thinking deeply, aren't you? At least it looks that way to me. Or are you being skeptical? Are you skeptical or what?
Samadhikari is making the Lord dance. He's, make me dance, like a puppet in your hand. He's making Lord act through him, like transparent via medium.
Yeah,
Doesn't need to read all the
Krishna, you're God and I'm not. That's what it boils down to. You, Krishna, Paramatma, are God, and I am not. Now, how many jivas talk like that? Don't most of them say, I am in charge here, I am the head of this place, and God helps me when he feels like it. Yeah, that's the false ego in the body. And all the stuff that goes with it, like education and reputation and all those things. There's nothing wrong with any of those things, but the only bad part is the fact that we become hypnotized by them. Anyhow, I hope the thief stays on board with us.
Right.
And
So
we need to try to get Chidananda Prabhu back.
Yeah, I'll talk to him, see what's going on with him tomorrow.
Good. Heart to heart, and say that also that Narayan deeply misses his association.
Okay, I'll let him know.
Maybe because Vasish joined, he's under the dropout because Vasish has plots,
could be.
plans on him.
Could be. Who knows? It'll be a good conversation.
Our point is to cure all ills. So if there's an ill, let's cure it. Okay?
He
All
posted
right.
he
Is this
posted
the
a
right
message
moment for
on
us to, is there a question or some statement?
Siddhananda Prabhu posted a post on Facebook. Can ISKCON be revived?
Can ISKCON be what?
Revived.
Revived?
Yeah.
Of course.
It's spiritual
It doesn't
movement.
need to, it doesn't need to be revived. It's doing fine the way it is, with some problems involved, like unelected GBC and bogus initiators. But in terms of the movement, people joining, following the regulated principles, chanting 16 rounds, what's the bad part? It's good. It's revived. That doesn't need reviving. What needs is a future, a upward vision of the next step on the Bhaktilata Beach route. That is practically absent. They're rotating. They're going round and round, chewing the already chewed. And that's dangerous, because when you chew the already chewed, there's no flavor. There's no flavor, you spit it out and go away and do something else. And that's what devotees do after a while. They get sick and tired of it, so they leave. So we don't want chewing the already chewed. You know, it means supposing somebody chews some sugar cane. I think that's probably one example. Somebody chews some sugar cane and then puts it on the table. Somebody else picks it up and chews it and says, I don't know why he's chewing it. It's not very sweet. Because it's already been sweet. The sugar has been taken out of the sugar cane by the first person that chewed it. The second person that chews it doesn't get much taste. And he says, what's so great about sugar cane? There's no taste in it at all. That makes sense?
Yes.
So the ISKCON tends to chew the already chewed. But there's not anything particularly wrong with that, because the Kanista Adhikari tends to chew the already chewed. That's why he needs upward mobility. And that was what we hopefully are providing. Does it make sense at all? Anand, what do you think?
I mean, could you ponder on it, explain it, and to chew what is already chewed?
Yeah. So do you think we can bring ourselves up, and by so doing, bring everyone else up with us?
I mean, could you explain? I mean, what is he chewing which has already been chewed?
All they have to do is hear us talking about becoming an Uttamadhikari. They can hear us talking about the golden age of Kali. They can hear us talking about all the topics we've been discussing. And they will hear things that they've never heard before. Wouldn't you say?
They're not discussing this topic, you're saying.
You think my presence is too heavy? I would like everyone else to pitch in. But unfortunately with Vasish, he pitches in, he's heavier than I am. But
he's heavy on the institution. That's it.
I have to struggle with him, because he comes up, he's got very set ideas.
Yeah,
Intellectual, right? All the
but you see, his idea of Paramatma is something you think about, not a person.
It's impersonalist. It's an impersonal idea that Paramatma is, some.
Well, we are all Mayavadi and Sanyavadi. Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Prachara, Nirvase Sunivari Paskatale Chatarane.
Yeah, that's why he's approached like that.
We're all Mayavadis. We don't understand Krishna as he is. And how can we? Nobody does.
Right.
But we're being given an opportunity to learn how.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm.
So,
Eh.
Sri Ramatanjati, and Sri Banuji, is it time for us to sign out?
Yes, time to sign out. So we'll continue tomorrow. Tomorrow is Advaita Acharya's appearance
Oh,
day.
that's right. Past till noon.
Yeah. All right, Prabhus.
Bhakta
Hare Krishna.
Nandana, don't freeze.
Jai, stay warm.
If
Try
you
to stay
stay
warm.
still, if you stay quiet like that, we'll think you froze to death and you were just looking at your frozen body.
Well, I think part of it has to do with like sometimes when I get beginning to speak, I get spoken over, so I just decide to listen instead. So
Well, you get
to
anything
be
out of it, of
honest,
course.
Gautam.
You're very intelligent, very perceptive. Really.
well, I appreciate the insight, but you know, I'm just a servant of the servant of the servant.
That's wonderful. There's nothing higher than the servant of the servant of the servant. So,
Today is
Prabhu,
my
let's take it. Well, go ahead.
today is my body's birthday.
Today?
Ah,
Nice
It's your birthday today?
yeah.
What is your birth? How old are you?
I think 36.
Wow. Well, I mean, I don't know what you do in India. In America, we sing happy birthday. So, Ramachandra, shall we invoke the
No.
Happy
Getting nearer
birthday
to
to you.
you.
Happy birthday
to
to
you.
you. Happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday,
dear
dear
Prabhu.
Manu.
Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday to
to
Well, I didn't expect devotees to sing the birthday song.
Yeah, what do
Well,
they sing in India?
We usually go to the temple with my dad. I said,
Oh,
uh,
you don't sing happy birthday to the birthday boy?
maybe when I was small, I used to do that.
Okay, Prabhus.
Haribol,
Hare Krishna. And happy
Hare Krishna.
birthday.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Whatever you do.
Thanks everyone for the wishes. Haribol.
Jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.